You may ask yourself,
Do you know who ate all the donuts?
and you may ask yourself,
My God, what are you doing?
Can you hear me? We're not doing this. We're not fucking around. We're not fucking around and questioning if can you hear me? I'm assuming you can hear me. Hi, everybody. Oh my God, I miss streaming so much. Hi, it's been 2 months. I have been away. I've been online. I've been tweeting. I've been tweeting a lot. I looked at my Twitter analytics, which is not something you should ever do, but it's a feature they have. And I've tweeted like twice as much, maybe more, like 4 times as much over the past 2 months than I have in my entire Twitter life. I have been #online. Hang on, let me let's clean up a little bit here. I haven't touched OBS in some time. I gotta clean up there's stuff all over the place. The donation bar is fucked. The font and the ticker is different, but I'm actually keeping it because it looks nicer. Generally speaking. Oh my God, it's nice to be back. Hi everybody. Let's get something on the screen. Let's because today's just chatting, and I was gonna do face cam, except so Duke and I have talked about our garbage situation, but the garbage people don't take our garbage enough, and they didn't, and now we have so much garbage packed up, and I don't want y'all to see that. So no face cam, at least for right now. Maybe I'll change my mind or something, but I'm gonna put something on screen. We'll also put some music on. We'll 2 birds 1 stone this. Let me get a window capture. Let me get a window. I can't find any window. Let me get a regular display capture then. We're gonna do Zelda and chill. Why not? Here, let's turn that on. Just keep it nice and quiet. Come on now, OBS. Can I change this? Oh, did OBS change their keys? What the fuck is going on? No, they didn't. I figured it out. It's been so long. Gamers, I'm back! It's actually been more than 2 months. I've been away. I've been medically indisposed. I was in the hospital. I had to have a surgery recently. And it was not, it did not come as a surprise to me. I knew it was coming. Posture check. Thank you. I knew it was coming. I wasn't terribly nervous. I've never been scared of things like anesthesia and surgery and stuff like that. I live in Canada. We got good doctors here. But it was actually an extremely rough time for me. The week in the hospital I spent was genuinely the worst week of my life, unfortunately. I am doing a lot better now. I don't want this to sound like, oh, pity me. But it was bad. And so I'm going to be talking about it today. But before we do get into that, I just want to say hi. I want to say hi. I'm home. I missed streaming so bad. It's really easy, like as a streamer, to kind of get, I guess, burnt out, right? To get kind of disillusioned with what you're doing and just be grinding out next day after the next day. But gosh, there is nothing like being forced to stop streaming that really puts into perspective how wonderful streaming is. Like I'm not like blind to the fact that streaming is cool as fuck, right? I've never like completely rolled my eyes and ignored that, but you forget how cool it is until you're sitting in your bed and it's been 6 weeks and you haven't been able to not be lying on your back in that past 6 weeks for medical reasons, and you are in excruciating pain, and all you want to do is tell people about your new Sonic opinions. That's all I want to do. So I'm home. I'm back. This is really great. This is not necessarily going to guarantee that I'm back on my regular schedule. Today is going to be a test run. Today's going to be a test to see how I'm feeling. Because it was a pretty shitty surgery. It was a pretty big old invasive one. They put all sorts of knives on me, and it took me up for quite a while. And I still don't have all my strength back, but I'm feeling good enough where I think I probably can get started again. Fucking Streamlabs also, in my absence, in my 2-month absence, decided to delete literally all of my settings. I opened up OBS today and my donation bar was gone completely because it's a custom donation bar, is gone. And all of my notifications are gone as well. So I very, very, very quickly just put in the basics, but all of our variations are gone. All of our 2077 custom sounds are gone. Our 20 plus you've got to have money is gone. Everything's gone. So this is going to be my official move to Stream Elements, because fuck that. Fuck you. I don't. That sucks. I don't ever want to go through that again. So I'm just going to rebuild in Stream Elements. But I did put some basic stuff in there. We've got the cat ash, which is a classic. We've got the subscription scientist yell. It's gonna be good. It's all good. We're all right. Swear we already moved. No, I explicitly did not make the move to Stream Elements on purpose. One, I think that the narrative of Stream Elements being the good guy and Streamlabs being the bad guy is kind of unnuanced. I think Stream Elements is great, and it's a really, really good, great piece of software, and it's a great, like, the people behind it are actually pretty cool. I've talked to one of their community managers, and they're pretty sick. And Streamlabs has done some kind of shady stuff a little bit here and there, but also a program's a program. Y'all know that I am a Google Chrome user, even though I recognize Firefox has an edge, pun intended, internet browser pun intended. But yeah, I purposely didn't move to Stream Elements. And I'm not regretting it, because Stream Elements has gone down a million times where Streamlabs was stable as hell. So I'm not regretting it. Seabird is first, thank you for the sub. I'm back. 10s across the board. But anyways, that's gonna happen today. Our stuff's gonna be weird. The icons, like the art is gonna be wrong, because I just clicked on whatever I could find, and the sounds are not gonna, there's no variations. I couldn't even find the sound that I used for follow notifications. So that one is the default one, which is also, I think, the same as our raid sound. So that's going to get confusing. Anyways, I'm back. I missed y'all. I miss being able to talk to y'all. I miss being able to just blabber on. But I do want to talk about my time in the hospital. And I've already talked about this, but this is a pretty serious, genuine trigger warning going forward. I'm not kidding when I say it was the worst week of my life in that hospital. And while I am okay, I have recovered. It was genuinely traumatizing. It was really bad. And I'm going to be talking about it because it impacted me in a way where I don't know, I feel like it's important to talk about. It's one of those things where it's like, wow, yeah, that sucked. I can't keep that private. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that. I have listed the trigger warnings in the pinned comment, the pinned message on the stream, but you can also type ! trigger warning to see exactly what that is. But just so I can quickly list it off, we're going to be talking about death. We are going to be talking about drugs, opioids specifically. We're going to be talking about hallucinations and psychosis. And we're going to be just talking about general hospital environmental stuff. That is all pretty serious subject matter. If this is not something you're comfortable listening to, I genuinely do think that you should step out. I don't want to make anybody uncomfortable. You do not owe me as a streamer to come here and support me for my return. If it's going to be at your own expense, you don't have to do that. So please do step away if that's not something you're safe with. However, after we're done with that, I'm going to be doing a Q&A session, which is going to be unrelated to that stuff, just a general chat. And at that point, if you wish to come back, you certainly can. I might do a little announcement saying that's what we're shifting to. So without further ado, I am officially shifting, as of the end of this sentence, into serious trigger warning talk. So I've given you your time. You've been fairly warned. Viewer discretion is firmly advised. Let's continue. Yeah, so I had to go to the hospital. I had to, as I said, I had a surgery. I had to have a surgery that I was not, it did not come up on me. I knew it was coming, and I was not like anxious about it ahead of time. But it did blindside me with how much it took me out. I was, the first thing I noticed, the first thing that really hit me, I'm going to turn down the Zelda music just a couple ticks. The first thing that really, really shocked me was how literal that sort of phrasing of regaining your strength is. I always imagined in my head, right, when you have a serious surgery, a very impactful, very hard-hitting one, that it would kind of be similar to when you're really sick. You know, when you have the flu and you just feel exhausted the entire time. That's what I always pictured in my head. That is not at all what it feels like. It is quite literal in you have to regain your strength, as in every single part of your body, every action is just harder. It just feels like you are less strong. It feels like you have, like, your muscles have been divided by 10. Every action is just exhausting. You just get tired very quickly. But in the inverse, when you're not doing anything, you don't feel like exhausted. You feel normal. And so you kind of overestimate how much you can do, and then you do too much, and then it's an infinite loop. So yeah, that was the first thing that really hit me, and it was fine. It wasn't the end of the world. But yeah, so my week in the hospital, pretty much every single day had a new, really shitty challenge to deal with. So let's start with the beginning. I going to the hospital, I wasn't allowed to eat anything for 32 hours before the actual hospital visit. And so I was literally starving by definition at this point. And it wasn't too bad, actually. I've had to not eat before. I've had to fast before, and this was actually one of the easier fasts. I don't know why. It was pretty easy on me. I didn't feel it too bad. And I was just like, all right, whatever. When I wake up from anesthesia, I'll munch down. I tweeted about wanting a burger, if you recall, if you follow my Twitter. Anyways, I wake up from the surgery. They wheel me into my little room. What liquids are consuming in that time? Mostly water, although I was allowed to have Coke. Dark sodas they allowed me to have, they said. So that helped. That got some calories in me. Anyways, so they wheel me into my little room, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm excited to eat, right? Duke is there, my grandparents are there, and they bring the food in, and when you're right out of anesthesia, they don't want you to eat solids right away because usually you're nauseated when you come out of anesthesia. I am not one of these people. I've had anesthetic a couple of times in my life, and I'm fine. It just feels like a nice nap. So I was very grumpy when they brought me the food, but I was starving. I would have eaten anything. So they bring me a tray, and I open it up. And I need to put some context here. Before I went to the hospital, I Googled. I was like, hey, this hospital, how's their food, right? Because it's a thing, bad hospital food. Everybody knows about bad hospital food. And I Googled it. And there was articles all over the place saying, oh, they had a new food program and it's actually edible. Oh, it's decent food. And I was all excited, right? So I was all excited to try the new decent food. They hand me the tray. I open it. There is a bowl inside. And inside of the bowl is beige slop. Literally beige slop. I have no idea what it was supposed to be. It had the consistency of like a smoother applesauce, but it was warm, and I think it's supposed to be savory. Anyways, so what ended up happening is I smelled it and was unimpressed, but I was starving. So I took my spoon, I scooped it up. It was really thick and gross, and I brought it to my lips. So when you're starving, your stomach starts to shut off, right? You get the hunger pains, and then eventually everything just shuts down. It's like, okay, I get it. We're in survival mode. I'm going to stop hurting because it's not like beneficial for survival. But when you eat, everything kind of runs, but it's like turning on a whole factory all at once. So I touched the slop to my lips and literally felt my stomach sound like an engine revving. My entire body shook with stomach growls. And like the loudest burp I've ever had came out of my body. I guess that was just in there. My body like activated. I got hungry again. I started realizing, oh, I'm super hungry. And yet, despite all this hunger, the moment I tasted the slop, I put the spoon back down and I gently pushed the tray away. I could not bring myself to have a single bite of it. Addie Stripes, thank you for the follow. I couldn't. They had a little cup of cranberry juice, and that was the first thing I ate out of surgery. The next thing they brought me that day was I think it was a tuna salad sandwich, and it was perfectly neutral in terms of edibility. I was able to finish this, so I finally had something in my stomach. And then the last thing they brought me in the day was they brought me it was like sausages, I think, and it had some gravy. Gamers, I am not picky. I'm not a picky eater. The sausages, and the gravy specifically, I think is where the taste came from, explicitly tasted like an old folks' home smells. I have never had a thought so clearly in my head in my entire life as when I tasted that sausage and went, oh God, that's the old folks' home smell. It was horrendous. It tasted like poop. It was disgusting, and I couldn't eat it. And so this was basically day one challenge, was starving and being unable to really put anything in my stomach. Not the worst thing in the world. Like, really, grand scheme, I was going to be okay. However, there was a little bit of an inkling of an issue showing up. I didn't get much sleep that night because I was beginning to experience day 2's challenge, which I will get to. So that's how day 1 ended. I barely ate. I was very tired, and I did not get any sleep. It is what it is. So day 2, challenge of day 2 was pain. Oh dear God. So I have chronic pain. This is not something I am secretive about. I have very bad chronic pain. All sorts of things run in my family, from migraines to fibromyalgia, all sorts of stuff. And my chronic pain in particular is triggered when I am very still and in the same position for a very long time. Duke will be able to tell you that I constantly roll around in my sleep. I am just shifting all over the place, because if I stay in the same place, I get extraordinary pain. Unfortunately, I had just had a surgery, and due to where the like stitches were, kind of in my like abdomen area, I could not lie on my side or stomach, or else it would put tension on them and potentially pop them open. And it would also make the swelling worse. And so this basically meant that for the next 6 weeks of my life, I was stuck on my back. I literally could not sit. I couldn't sit up. I could barely walk because of how weak I was. I was only capable of lying on my back, and it was hell. And so that began extremely bad back pain and like headaches for the rest of my visit for that week. And that was day 2's big challenge, right? I was just in like a stupid amount of pain. Day 3, it got worse. Keep in mind, at this point, I still had barely eaten. I did manage to get a good sleep on day 2, but I had barely eaten because all the hospital food and from then till this ends was all practically inedible. I could barely bring myself to eat any of it. And so I was dealing with that. I could barely sleep, and I was in extraordinary pain. So day 3 rolls around, and I discovered a new awesome thing. So when you have surgery, your body is popped open and a bunch of air gets in there. And when you're sewed back up, the air is trapped, it's got nowhere to go. And so it's really common for any surgery, minor or major, to feel bloated afterwards. This is a really normal thing, right? And so you got to toot. You got to toot that shit out. It's regular surgery stuff. Unfortunately, y'all remember how I mentioned that the stitches and stuff, the sutures were at my abdomen region? I also had bandages over those. And those bandages were holding down my tum-tum and trapping all of that gas, all of it. And so for the remainder of the week, I was in extraordinary gas pain, probably the worst pain of my entire life. It got to the point where on day 3, I was like actually sobbing from pain. And the nurses ran in, and they had to give me what was basically an injection of, it's not morphine, it's hydromorphine is what it's called. And it's kind of like better morphine. And then they also gave me hydromorphine pills because a push, like an injection of morphine, etc., is very strong and instant, but doesn't last for very long, whereas pills don't kick in for a while, but they last for longer, right? So that was the combo they gave me to help me literally survive. And it only brought me down from a like 11 out of 10 in pain to like a 7, but it was enough. It was survivable. So for the rest of the week, I was basically stuck on a schedule where in order to not pass out from pain, I think it was 4 hours when the pain meds wore off, I had to press the button and a nurse would walk in and give me a new set of the hydromorphine. Plus, they ended up giving me Tylenol 3s as the pill instead of hydromorphine pills because the hydromorphine pills did nothing for me. And Tylenol 3s are a stronger opioid. So I was in a lot of pain. And this little concoction of no sleep, no food, extreme pain, and opioids in my body led into the next few days of problems. But we have a few days until we get to the real repercussions of that. So days 4 and 5 at the hospital were pretty much the same as these things, as those prior things for a while. Day 4, I got a new nurse. Oh. I had great nurses when I was at the hospital, right? For the most part. Like, oh, they were so sweet and nice and kind. They understood I was going through some shit. And they were great. Day 4, I got a new new nurse. And she was the worst person I've ever had to deal with. She was specifically that kind of nurse who, or kind of just medical professional in general, who is like very fake nice and then does not do any, like does not help at all. Like very, so she by her own admission was very used to working with old folks. And so she was very babying with how she spoke to me. She was like, well, you say no bedside manner. It wasn't that, it was too much bedside manner. It was fake bedside manner. Easily, obviously fake. Southern, yeah, Duke described it perfectly. It was that very Southern hospitality kind of fake niceness. And so I had to deal with that on top of the fact that whenever she was doing something, if I really, really needed it, she would be slow as fucking molasses, just absolutely taking her time and just not helping. Or actually, so no, I'm getting this backwards. If I didn't need it at all, excuse me, she would be extremely slow and take her time. If I didn't need it, like it was something stupid that I could have done easily on my own, she would take her time. She would constantly be like talking to me and checking in on me, even though I didn't need it. Like just basic things like, hey, can you grab my water cup? I dropped it on the floor, and she would take like 20 minutes to do that. Because she's constantly talking to me. And then if I really needed something like urgently, she would rush it so bad that she would constantly bump my shit. Like I was hooked up to all sorts of tubes and monitors, and it hurt to bump them because like IVs and shit, it's stuck into me. And she would bump them. She'd roll over them with the wheels of the cart. It would hurt so bad. And I was very polite. I was, hey, that really hurts. Could you be careful? And she never did. She never did. And she'd do shit like I had to get up and use the bathroom. And like I said, I could barely walk at this point, but I could walk. Like I was capable of it. And I got up on my own. And I will never forget her words. She said, "Oh, you're so independent." It was like, oh my God, can you shut the fuck up? And I walked over to the bathroom. And as I was reaching for the door handle, she like reaches in front of me, almost knocks me over, reminder that I can't walk properly, and opens it for me. And then pretends like she's being so sweet. And it's like, lady, you just made this 10,000 times harder and more painful. It was terrible. I hated this lady so much. She was the worst. She was the bane of my existence. I spent so much time complaining about her to Duke and my grandparents because they visited every day. By the way, Duke and my grandparents, every single day they were there. It was the highlight of every day. It kept me alive. It kept me sane. So that was day 4. Day 5, more issues with this nurse. Specifically, they did my blood work and they found that I was slightly low, just a little bit low on potassium. So this nurse decided, okay, we're going to give you some potassium. And she decided to do it through the IV. Apparently, potassium through an IV is not very comfortable. I should also mention that my IVs were fucked. Like, they put them in my, on the tops of my hands. And I needed to use my hands to physically lift my torso up to get around. Meaning, I was like constantly shifting and stabbing myself with these IVs. So they were fucked. One of them already was like taken out because it was leaking at this point, and it really hurt. What's up, darling?
You gotta mention the
I will get to that. So like these IVs were super fucked. Also, when your IV pierces your vein and is no longer in there and they put saline in you, which is fucking salt water, holy shit, it hurts. Anyways, so it's potassium day. And in my only remaining IV, because the other ones had to get taken out because they got fucked, she starts putting the potassium in, and I'm like, hey, my IV feels a little off. I'm not sure this is right. And when she starts putting in the saline, because you start with a saline push before you do any IV, I noticed that like, hey, that felt wrong. Like that felt similar to how the other one did. It didn't it didn't feel right. And she was just like, oh, I'm sure it's fine. She puts the potassium in. The sheer pain. Within seconds, I was in non-verbal amounts of pain. I could not move. I could not make a sound. Tears were just pouring out of my face. I was on call with Duke when this happened. And I was like talking to him. He heard everything go down. And as it was going in, I was like, hey, this doesn't feel like the potassium went. I was like, hey, this doesn't feel right. And then she was like, oh, it's okay. It's going to be a little uncomfortable. I was like, no, this is like actually seriously painful. And then I was like, hey, Duke, I'm going to call you back. Okay. And as I hit like end call, that was when it got so painful that I could not speak anymore. And I was like tears were just involuntarily pouring out of my face. And I was like practically frozen in pain. And she walks up to me. She looks at me and she goes, oh, does that sting a bit? And I just look at her and just force out a, like that's all I could get out. And so she said, okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take the IV out, all right? Yeah, I'm going to fight for you on this one. We're going to take the IV out for you. As if she was my fucking hero. As if she was doing that. Oh, she's fighting for me. As if she's on my team. This fucking bitch. I warned her it didn't feel right. And so she takes it out. And guess what she does? She brings me a fucking potassium pill, which they had the whole fucking time. That was day 5. So day 6 was when I started to seriously break. So I mentioned already that I had no sleep. I was on quite a lot of opioids and I had barely eaten at all. On day 6, I started, actually, before we get to day 6, at the end of day 5, I was told that from the very beginning, I was told that day 6 was the day I got my bandages removed. And I was literally holding on. That was like my light at the end of the tunnel day, because as I mentioned, my bandages were keeping all that gas trapped. And it was the worst pain I've ever lived through. That's why I had to be on the morphine in the first place. That combined with my chronic pain was too much for me to handle. I almost passed out several times from it. So day 6 was my light at the end of the tunnel. I was like, okay, that's the day my bandages get removed. At 5 in the morning on day 6, I did not sleep that night because of the pain, by the way. A doctor comes in and says, hey, how you doing? How you feeling? Doctors came in all the time. It actually sucked because the 4 to 6 a.m. stretch I would have about 6 different doctors come through. So like, good luck getting any sleep, because that's when they all arrived to work and they checked in on me. So fuck whatever. But whatever. So the doctor comes in and I am exhausted. I didn't sleep, and asked me how I'm doing. And right as they're leaving, I'm like, hey, just checking in. I'm getting my bandages today, right? Taken off today, right? And he turns to me and he says, I mean, we're gonna have to look into that. We might have to be maybe tomorrow because the doctor might not be in today. I sobbed. I cried for about an hour or two because that was my light at the end of the tunnel. That was my one thing I was hanging on to, and I sobbed. And I fucking white woman at calling for the manager to them. I was so fucking pissed. Thankfully, I did white woman yelling at the manager enough to get them to get somebody who was able to take the bandages off. So I did get it. But oh my God, I was losing it. The other thing that happened on day 6 is the opioids, the lack of sleep, the lack of food, the pain finally caught up with me. I started getting hallucinations. Now, I don't have psychosis, but I am familiar with it. And I was scared at this moment that I maybe had developed it. But I had basically the symptoms. It gets worse, and I'll get to it when we get to it. We're gonna get to day 7, but day 6 was basically I started. So I had a migraine, right? Like a proper migraine. If you don't get migraines, you get what's called an aura sometimes with them, which it appears in many different ways. But basically, for me, the most common way and the way I was experiencing is you stop being able to focus on your peripheral vision. It's like you have a vignette around your vision. And it's just blurry. Like you can't, like it's already hard to see from your peripheral, but it's just like completely blurred out. And what ended up happening with the hallucinations is all of that blurry aura like section of my vision was like shifting, and it was like making images. And I recognized what it was very quickly. The very first time I noticed it, I was like half asleep in my bed. And I thought I saw somebody walk over me, and then I looked at it and I realized it was the IV stand that had been there, and it just looked like a person's silhouette. And as soon as that happened, I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm getting hallucinations." Thankfully, because I do have experience with, like, I used to live with somebody who had psychosis, previous roommate, and I've had old high school friends and stuff, so I know how it works. I was able to clue in very quickly. However, it was still weird that the entire rest of the day, everything was shifting. If you've ever done that thing, the thing where you press hard on your eyes, like you close your eyes and you press against them and you get like flashing lights, almost like fireworks, right? And if you concentrate, they almost make images, right? They make like shapes, like recognizable images and shapes, right? Keep in mind, I have aphantasia, so I can't picture stuff in my head normally. So this is the only experience I have with like mentally creating shapes in my head. So that basically was happening on overdrive, but with just at all times. So anything that I wasn't seeing clearly was being shaped to whatever my like subconscious thoughts were. And it was a little fun for a little bit. I was playing with it. I like at one point like slightly crossed my eyes, so my whole vision was blurry in doing it. And I just was like conjuring images in my head. It was kind of fun. In a fucked up, like I'm losing my mind kind of way. But I was like, for example, that little Among Us that Duke drew on my whiteboard. I talked about that. I tweeted about it. I would like specifically play with my peripheral vision and my normal vision to like make it do weird things and then look at it. And I was pretending it was the imposter. I was, again, opioids and no sleep for 6 days and no food, basically. I was in extreme pain. I was in a way. Unfortunately, this did not get good. So day 7 was the day I left. So day 7 to me is, I picture it more as the night leading up to day 7. And this was when I had fully broken. This sucked. This was my birthday. It was March 13th. And I was extremely weak from all of the aforementioned shit. And the hallucinations were bothering me. And my grandparents and Duke come in for their visit. They get me a burger, which I had said I wanted, and they get me some cake. I ate my burger. It was great to get something in my stomach that actually had flavor, that wasn't old folks home flavor. And I was like barely able to like move my body. I was starting to get to a point where, and I still don't know what necessarily this was. I don't know if this was paranoia manifesting like psychosomatically, physically in my body, or if this was extreme weakness because of all of the like lack of food and the lack of sleep and everything else. Whatever it was, I stopped being able to like properly control my body. Like my wrists kept clicking as if they were getting caught on something. Kind of felt like brain zaps a little bit, but for my body instead of your brain. If you've ever had brain zaps, if you've ever withdrawn on something. But as the visit was ending, I basically stopped having the energy to move. Again, I don't know if this was physical or psychosomatically induced, but I couldn't move. And I just kind of fell onto my bed and just sat for a bit. And I was like in a bit of a delirium. I was like, trying to keep everybody, make sure they weren't scared. Because I was like, despite all this, I was fairly lucid. Like I knew what was going on. I knew I was going through the shitter. And I didn't want my family to worry about me, Duke in particular. Because, he's stuck at home all alone, and he's just got to, hope I'm doing okay, right? So I kind of flop, and I'm like, it's all good. I'm just going to sleep. You guys head out. I'm tired. And as they leave, I just start bawling my eyes out. Because I'm just, I have a panic attack, basically. I'm terrified. And I get scared that I'm going to stop breathing. Because I'm so weak, whether physical or mental, I'm so weak that it is hard to breathe. And I genuinely, for the first time in maybe my life, well, the first time in a very long time at least, I thought I might die. It was really, really terrifying. I still have a little bit of that kind of teenage hood, I can never die energy in my brain. Logically, I know that's not true and I take steps to take care of myself, but I do I don't know, I've got a bit of that naivety that call it whatever you want, optimism, naivety, whatever it is, that I'm probably going to turn out fine. And this was the first moment in basically the first extended moment of my life where I didn't believe that anymore. The only other times were when I had been in near fatal car crashes and stuff. Well, not in car crashes, but I've nearly been hit by cars that were in a crash a couple of times in my life. And that's different. Like that was like, oh geez, I nearly avoided it. This was like, I don't know if I'm going to avoid this. And it was scary. But I also, at the same time, like I said, semi-lucid, I recognized what was happening. Duke came back, or he never left. My grandparents left, and I started crying as, like, I had Duke stay behind for a couple minutes, and that's when I started crying, and I had the panic attack. And partway through the panic attack, I started laughing. Again, I was kind of delirious at this point, but I like, it clicked in my head that I was just having a panic attack. I was probably fine, and that I was being, I guess, silly, is how I was thinking about it at the time. I cry laughed for a while, and then I just asked Duke and my grandparents to stick around for a little bit longer while I like calmed down, and so I could fall asleep. And they did. They stuck around, and I lied in bed and I tried to fall asleep. I wasn't getting there, but I was at least calmed down enough where I was like, okay, it's okay, you guys, you can head out now. And then the worst night of my life happened. The hallucinations grew to paranoia, and I started, basically I had the worst night of my life. My dreams, I was like drifting in and out of sleep, and my dreams and reality were getting confused in my head, and the hallucinations had gotten so bad that my understanding of the physical space around me was wrong, like not accurate. Like I would wake up from like drifting off briefly and like be confused because I felt like my room was in an entirely different layout. Excuse me. And I got obsessed with trying to reduce the pain I was in, because I was in a lot of pain. And then also like I was unable to move properly, but the more I moved, the harder it got because I was wasting energy. And then I got frustrated with myself that I was wasting energy and not solving the problem of being in pain, and I couldn't sleep. And this was the entire night, basically dusk till dawn. I was in, not dusk till dawn, dawn till dusk. I was in this paranoid, semi-delusional state in tons of pain, until at some point in the AMs, I passed out. And I woke up, and I felt slightly better, but it still sucked a lot. Yeah. So that was basically my hospital experience. The next morning, I was still semi-delusional until I was rolled out of my hospital room, in which I, one, refused to take any more opioids for the rest of that day, and two, as I was being wheeled out, it like, my brain like reset itself. I had like a mental reset, and I became a real person again. It was very, like, I cannot describe it in any way as like I was a human again. Like there's something really intensely scary and I guess just confusing about isolation. Because I was in that same room for 7 days. I did not leave once, and I was in the same position in that same room the entire time. At a certain point, your brain stops recognizing like the layout of the room, and it just starts going, like, just assuming. It's like muscle memory, right? Like, I know the window is to my right, so I'm gonna stop looking at it. I'm gonna stop paying attention. I'm just gonna, intuit where I am. And eventually that turned, for me, with all these hallucinations going on, that turned into just a complete lack of like conscious understanding of my physical space in the world. It's a very weird, it wasn't quite dissociative, because I was still very much in that way. Maybe it was dissociative. I don't know what it was. Whatever it was, it sucked. And then as soon as I got rolled out of that, in a wheelchair out of that hospital room, it was like, I can think again. It was insane. Anyways, I got rolled back to the car. It was a couple-hour drive home. I walked up to my, hi, Bailey. I hope you're doing well. Just a heads up, Bailey, there's a big old trigger warning at the top here. You should take a look, because we're in the thick of it right now. But yeah, I got home. My grandpa picked me up. It was just him. Duke was waiting for me at home because he had something to do that day. And my grandpa drove me home, and I got out of the car, and I kind of shuffled, because I could still barely walk at this point, but I shuffled over, and Duke walked out of the house to meet me. He I guess heard the car or something. And the moment I saw him, I burst into tears again. Like I felt unsafe for so long that seeing him just really set in stone that I was safe again. I'm tearing up. Sorry. You're sitting outside for over an hour? Oh, I'm sorry, darling. Hang on, I gotta take a second. yeah, just I had felt unsafe for so long that seeing him there at home made me feel like really just set home that I was safe, and it made me truly believe that I was safe again, and I just sobbed for a while. And I was better. Like, I was still fucked up for the next week or two. I was very kind of shaken from everything. At one point, Duke had to go to the pharmacy to pick up some pills, and I couldn't physically go, right? I like, that car drive home was too hard on me. And he had to go on his own. And I, like, started crying because I missed him, and I called my mom. Because I was just like, it's a healthy thing to do. You call somebody when you feel that way. Like, I just called my mom and chatted with her until he got home. Yeah, it was rough. It was the worst week of my life. With some heavy catharsis at the end when I got home. But that was just the 1 week. I had another, I've been gone for another 2 months on top of that, because it's been about 2 months and a week now. Past 2 months have been okay. Like, I only talked about the negatives of that hospital visit. But there was some, I mean, like, I wouldn't say positives, but there was some, what's the word? I don't know, some lights in the dark? I don't know how to describe it. Point is, there was some good stuff that came out of it. Because I was forced to be not doing anything, I got really creatively motivated. I was watching a lot of video essays just to pass the time, and that got silver lining. Thank you. I got very creatively motivated, and that is why I've been talking a lot on Twitter. I've been planning on. I've been writing video essays. I've finally have sat down and been like, okay, I'm ready to do this. I have 8 video essays, I think, planned, and one of them, the rough draft, is on like draft 2 right now. I got excited about like getting back into game dev and doing and finishing up Couples Craft. Like, I got really creatively motivated, and that has still been carrying me. I also, like, over the course of like the past 2 months, got a lot more confident. I think it's like probably chalk it up to like a near-death experience, or perceived near-death. I don't know what you want to call it, but I've been feeling really great personally. Like, it seems weird to say after everything I just talked about, but I have been reaching out to friends more. I have been more confident. I've just been feeling really emotionally great, which is really relieving to come out of all this that way. Excuse me, I'm taking a drink because I'm dehydrated. Yeah, I've been doing like really well, personally speaking, since then, which is really good. It took 6 weeks for me to be like semi-mobile again, which was terrifying. Not terrifying. It was like very surprising, because the doctors actually explicitly told me that it would be 6 weeks. They were like, yeah, you'll be good. You'll be like feeling the biggest hurdle will be over at about 6 weeks. And then the next one is 3 months. And then after that, after a full year, you will be completely normal. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's doctor speak, right? 6 weeks is, an approximate. No. Literally on the day of 6 weeks, I was finally feeling good enough to like walk around the house and like prepare my own food and stuff. It was wild how exact it was. Like, the day before that 6 week point, I was completely fully bedridden. Steve Citrus, thank you for the applause. I'm glad that's working. I'm glad that didn't break with all the other OBS stuff. But yeah, I literally, on the day of, I was able to like get myself out of bed and do stuff again. I was still healing. In fact, it's only maybe the past 2 weeks that I have been, confidently moving around. Like, I couldn't sit at my desk still at the 6 week point. It just was too painful. But yeah, I about a week or 2 ago, I was like sitting at my desk pretty consistently and doing stuff. And I was like, okay, I think I can get back to streaming. And that's what today's about. And that's why today's the big test run. But yeah, it was wild how specific that was. Up until then, though, I've been playing on my Steam Deck, but mostly just watching a lot of videos. When I was in the hospital, I was too physically tired to play games. Like, I couldn't focus on them enough to play them. So I just watched videos there. And then when I got home, I kind of just kept that up. Although, I played a lot of Sonic Mania when I got home. And holy shit, I get it now. I was firmly in the, like, Sonic was never good camp. Don't tell Penny. This is like slanderous, me being like having like been in the dubs, being like a dub cast member. I was like in the Sonic Was Never Good camp for a long time. When I befriended Penny, I like looked inwards and I was like, okay, I gotta like re-examine my Sonic opinions because this is slanderous. And then I got to the point where I was like, yeah, you know what? Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 and 06 even are pretty fun. But that's it. 2D Sonic was never good. So here's the thing. Oh, Penny, hi! Oh, wait, no, it's anonymous gift to Penny. Okay, well, oh yeah, of course it can't be. She's streaming right now. Isn't she playing Tears of the Kingdom? Anyways, point is, thank you for gifting a sub to Penny. I played Sonic Mania and I got it. So here's the thing, and I understand why I didn't like it. So Sonic, 3D Sonic, right? Like Sonic Adventure 1, 2, and 3, and even modern Sonic to a degree, is all about speed through reactivity and skill, right? So like in a 3D Sonic game, you keep up, like map knowledge helps, but you succeed by seeing obstacles as they approach and reacting to them, right? Or seeing like the optimal path ahead of time and making sure you reach it. Like a good example of that is Sonic Adventure 2, the one where Sonic goes onto the rocket, right? A lot of that stage is seeing like planes fly by ahead of time and dodging them as you approach. And so when I started playing 2D Sonic, I took that as the way all Sonic was supposed to be played, because it's what I understood. It's what I started with, and it's how I thought the series was supposed to be. And in my defense, that's how the series was marketed, right? Sonic is all about speed, obviously. That's Sonic. That's all it is about. But when I was watching in the hospital, when I was watching all those video essays, I watched one guy do retrospectives on the whole Sonic series. And when he was talking about the 2D Sonic games, he kept saying exploration. He kept mentioning the words exploration every single video. And I got really, really confused. I was like, what the fuck, exploration in a Sonic game? Like, yeah, I guess so. Was it Billiam? No, I don't think so. But the guy kept mentioning exploration, and I was really, really confused by that. And then I kept watching, and I realized that the way this guy was playing was not to get to the end as quickly as possible. It like clicked in my head, basically. Well, the moment it really clicked was when I learned that you can unlock Supersonic and play as him in the regular game. I was always under the impression that Supersonic was a boss fight only thing. I thought you get the Chaos Emeralds and then you get the secret ending. I thought that's all it was. But no, you unlock Supersonic, you get to play as him. And that's when it all clicked for me. Speed is not the goal of 2D Sonic. Speed is the reward of 2D Sonic. And it blew my fucking mind. Playing 2D Sonic, you don't have to get to the end and as fast as you can. That's not what they're telling you to do. It makes you think that you're supposed to when all of you have seen is 3D Sonic and then the marketing. But that's not it. You are... The intended way to play is to explore every nook and cranny of the map. So 2D Sonic is famous, right, for having these like multi-layered level designs where you go up and you go down and you can take whatever route you want, right? And I always saw that ahead of time as, oh, well, you know, speedrunners it's great for it's like a speedrunning game, right? Because like people take they map out their routes. And I personally didn't like it because, oh, I'm not that kind of gamer. I don't map out my routes ahead of time. I don't want to have to memorize the maps to have fun, right? That's what I thought was going on. But that's not it. The maps have that variation. So when you're exploring, you get infinite amounts of like ways you can possibly experience a level. Like Green Hill Zone isn't fun because, oh, if you're good, you get the fast high road path. No, it's fun because every time you play, you do a weird like spin dash jump on a ramp, and you go like soaring into the sky, and you find a like section you've never seen before in your entire time playing. And you discover like the hidden rings are all designed around it. Finding the Chaos Emeralds is all about teaching the player and incentivizing exploration, because it is objectively not the fastest way to play the game to find the secret rings and get all the emeralds if you don't already know where they are. I thought that was bad game design. No, that's the point. You don't have to play fast. You have to play fun And then once you have played the game a bunch of times, you know, you've gotten through, you've unlocked, because it encourages replays in that, because there's so many different ways you could experience a map, you get to explore every time. You get to find those Chaos Emeralds a little faster. You get to unlock Supersonic a little faster. It's encouraging you to play it over and over again in a fun way. And then once you've played for fucking 200 hours or whatever, you are just intimately familiar with the maps because the game has encouraged you to learn them in a natural way, that you are rewarded with getting to clear them the levels in record pace. It's going fast in a 2D Sonic game is a dedicated longtime player's reward, not the required way to experience the game from point one. It's crazy. It really blew my mind discovering that. And so I played through Sonic Mania recently. I played through it twice, actually. And I'm loving it. I'm like adoring it. I love looking around the map to find weird different ways to complete it. My favorite thing in the world is every single time there is a ramped surface, every time I do a spin dash and I jump at the peak of it, because you get absurd height. Also, I get why people talk about the physics in Sonic so much now, and why people think it's so important. Like, I've always liked the momentum aspect of Sonic. I just think it's entertaining. But now that I've played 2D Sonic, I understand why it's so integral, because you can use it to just do, you get it. The game encourages you to break it. There is no wrong way to play a 2D Sonic game other than playing it in the way you think you're supposed to be playing it. Like, that's all it is. Playing a 2D Sonic game is literally just playing it the way you find is the most fun, because everything about the game will lead you to a satisfying conclusion. It's crazy. I did not realize how genuinely brilliantly designed it was, and it was all because I was going into them with the wrong assumptions. I was going into them as if they were a 3D Sonic game. I was wrong, and that's okay, and it's cool, and I'm so excited that I get to see it this way. I went way harder in on this than I expected to, because I plan on making a video about this when I get into video essays. It's going to be down the line. It's not one of my most important ones. Not important, but not one of the ones that is the highest on my list of things I want to do. But yeah, it was really exciting for me to discover this and kind of learn to fall in love with the game. Because that's how it was. I learned to fall in love with this game that I had forever thought was just not for me, right? I truly thought that the reason people liked Sonic was just because they were the types of players who liked speedrunning. They were the types of players who liked to memorize map layouts and map out the perfect way to get through it. And now that I'm not limited to that super small subset of Sonic, type of ways to experience Sonic, it's really exciting. It's awesome. I'm really excited to do it. How I learned to love 2D Sonic games. The thing is, Zepsy Man. Zapisa Man. I was thinking about calling it that, except for the fact that I'm pretty sure that's already the name of a series. I think somebody does a series called How I Learned to Love X. So I'm probably going to do something along the lines of so most of my video essay titles, I like to do a sort of vague thesis statement approach. I do a title first approach. For example, the VR is dying, but meta holds knife thing. This is something I'm super passionate about, right? I firmly do believe everything that I have. I mean, I've talked about a lot of it off stream. I'm going to get really into the weeds with it with the video. But when I came up with that, in the format of a video essay, the title was what came first. It's not that I was starting with a title and just trying to force topics onto it. That's not what I mean. It's more that I treat the title as a thesis statement that doesn't give away the content. And that is what makes it click in my head into how it will be formatted as a video essay. Yeah, that's how I would describe it. Because that's how because that's, to me, that's how you make a very enticing video, right? The thesis statement as a title is it gets you hooked, but if you don't explain the reasons in the thesis statement, which is technically against how a thesis statement works, but if you keep it vague enough where people you're almost posing it as a question, even if it's not technically a question, that's hooks for me, baby. And it keeps everything cohesive. I'm really excited. That's how I've kind of built everything. I talked about reference versus reverence, which is not my next. It's a future video essay that I plan on doing. That one was title first. Like, I have always kind of had this vague idea in my head of, oh, some references are good, some are bad. But the moment I was like, huh, reference and reverence are very similar words. Oh, and it's very kind of very a concise way of explaining the way I feel. Everything about turning it into a video essay format fell into place right after that. However, I like to also do bait and switch ones. Most of them, like, I don't want to reveal because I don't want to give away what they're about. But I have one video essay planned, probably in the higher tiers of like order of I'm gonna release them, and it's called "Why Are the Curtains Blue?" In reference to, you know, that meme that went around for a long time, right? Like the English teacher, oh, why are the curtains blue? Oh, because they're blah blah blah. Here's the thing. The video is not about metaphors or poetry or anything in any way. It is a total fake out. And yet it is extremely emblematic and of the point I plan on making in that video. Feel free to try and guess, by the way, what you think the actual topic of it is going to be. It's going to be good. I'm excited for that one. Is it about the blue and black dress? No. I'm not gonna like refer to every single guess, but if somebody guesses it right, I'll point it out. But yeah, so that's been my last little while. I've been very creatively motivated. I've felt like shit for a while, and now I'm feeling really great. And generally speaking, I've just been doing okay. I've been feeling better. I'm very happy right now, specifically like in this moment as well, because I'm feeling great currently. I feel energized. I feel like I'm not passing out. If any of y'all watch Duke streams, you'll probably know that I've stepped over to help here and there, and I have like, I've been pretty tired. Like I've been like, Duke, I gotta go back to bed. Like I've been like falling over out of pain and like exhaustion. That's not happening to me right now, which is pretty exciting. It also helps that I'm able to like sit up, because like I said, abdomen area, I couldn't sit up for 6 weeks or so. So that was rough. Even honestly, like closer to the full tilt. No, yeah, 6. I don't know what it was. Anyways. But yeah. Nobody's gotten it right so far. But the curtains thing, that's okay. What else? Duke, am I missing anything that's happened? The cats kept trying to step on you. Oh yeah! The very first day I came home, I talked about I had been crying a bunch. I was exhausted. I was in so much pain, blah, blah, blah. The moment I got home, I lied down to have a nap. Duke lied down next to me. And Duke was lying like with his knees like upwards, right? And Marshmallow likes to climb on us. That's his thing. Marshmallow climbed on Duke's knees, looked at me, and jumped directly onto my stitches. From the top rope, boom, just directly onto them. Oh my God, I got terrified. I was so scared that I like was genuinely injured. Thankfully, it did not like tear any of the stitches. I was okay, but it hurt so fucking bad. He's done that twice, and Gilbert has done it once so far. But Griffith, thank you for the $5. Thank you. I'm happy. Wait, did Streamlabs broke the text-to-speech too? Jesus, Streamlabs is busted. How much longer do we have of this Zelda? We're about to run out. Hang on, this is a Donkey Kong song. It says Donkey Kong here. This isn't Zelda. Oh, it's Nintendo Lo-Fi. Okay, all right, fair enough. You get to. I'm gonna put this on repeat so we don't, so I don't have to click back on it. But yeah, that's basically been my past little while. I've been very creatively motivated and very confident. It's been very nice. I posted the first two good selfies I've posted in like 2 years. Like the last selfie that I consider a good selfie was in 2021, back when I got my hair dyed pink for the last time. It was my profile picture for a million years. Yeah, that was like 2021. I've posted some selfies in the interim, but I've never been like super happy with them. And by the way, confidence in oneself is directly connected to selfie game. It has been this way my entire life. You can track your selfie quality by your confidence level. And I took 2 selfies recently, and they look pretty good, pretty okay. Pretty darn okay. Oh Oh, you know what I can talk about, actually? Kind of hot, TBH. I mean, what am I talking about? Everyone been bookmarking it? Yeah. Another thing I forgot to bring up. On top of feeling more confident and being more creatively motivated, I've also been... it's kind of connected to the confidence. I've been wanting to redesign my, I guess, like, public Sona, as it were. So, a little bit of history for you. I have had 2 versions of my Sona. It's Sophie 1.0, which is the chibi Sophie. We actually have still some emotes with that old design. I think Sophie Tired. Do we have Sophie Baby Tired in here? Yeah, we do. That's the old design. And it was cute. It was actually surprisingly, like, despite the chibi, pretty accurate to what I looked like back then. I had my hair cut short when Duke met me, and he drew those. And you know, it was all right. But after a little while, I was like, hey, I wanna change this up. And Sophie 2.0, which is the current design, is it's one, kind of basic. And the reason for that is because when I had it designed, I was in a very low confidence point in my life. I was 21. We were all 21 at some point. Or 22 or whenever it was. And so I didn't really have any kind of idea of who I was, but I had a vague understanding of what I wanted to be. So Sophie 2.0 was very much an idealized version of myself with the full head of pink hair, which I have done technically, but and then just like, I don't know, I had a generic idea of I wanted some sort of cutesy outfit. Like that was it, right? All I knew is, oh, you know, I want to be... I know I gave you nothing. It's because I had nothing to give. It's because when I was then, I didn't know what I wanted to be. All I knew is I wanted some general idea of cutesiness. And also that was kind of just like the Twitch e-girl style at the time. I don't want to like, I mean, like, come on. 2020, 2020, 2021, whenever it was, you know. It was right before the pandemic. The vibe for girls on Twitch was cutesy, you know, cutesy pink princess, or just extremely horny. It was one of the only 2 options. And as I've been kind of recovering from surgery and being more confident and being more creatively motivated, I have really kind of nailed who I think I am as a person, right? I mean, that's what being in your mid-20s is all about, self-discovery. And this isn't like a new thing entirely for me. For the past year, I've kind of been coming into this because, as y'all know, I've been getting into game dev. I've been working on Couples Craft. I've been working on video essays as of recently. And I've kind of shifted my stream aesthetic, kind of stream vibe to be more... excuse me, like a lot of analytical talks about games and like points of views about games. Like I did that whole stream with Black Mesa kind of talking about why I thought it's inferior to Half-Life. I do a lot of streams where I kind of talk about game design. It's who I am. It's who I am. And I'm also not cutesy frilly. Like I just have never really been that. Like I only wanted to be that because pretty frilly cutesy girl on Twitch is kind of just what people were doing at the time, and I was like, oh, I can do that, right? And that's not really me. That's not really an accurate description of me, because I am loud, I am excitable, I am passionate, I am goofy. I'm a goofy goober, and I'm I don't know. I'm a bit of a gamer. I'm working on game dev. I'm confident. I'm like loud and outspoken, right? And so I've been working on a redesign for the Sophie 3.0 model. I'm not a freaking VTuber. Sophie 3.0 design, right? And it's going to be a lot more accurate to who I actually am. Because Sophie 2.0, right? Like I wanted to, when I had that, I wanted to be thinner, and I wanted to have longer hair, and I wanted to be cute. And those are like the only vague ideas of who I wanted to be as a person. And now that I'm older, I'm like, one, I'm not thin, but also like I'm hotter. I like appreciate my body a lot more than I did. Like I'm not that big, but I'm not thin. And I am kind of willing to own that now in a way I was just too self-conscious to do before. And I don't know, like I'm hanging out. I want to be authentic. So I actually have well, I just showed it briefly there. I made a mood board. I made a mood board to kind of describe what I'm going for with the 3.0 design. It's not cooked up yet, I didn't post this on Twitter because it has a lot of art from other artists, and I'm not comfortable posting that online just as it is, even though it is credited because, artists don't like when their stuff is reposted, right? I get it. However, this is a live stream, and it is well within the context of why I'm talking about it. So I actually do want to talk about it and bring it up and show it off because I can't really think of another way to do it. I do want to talk about this. I like what I have put together here. It's fairly comprehensive. I eventually maybe want to try and publish it as like a card that, or some sort of dynamic like site thing where you can click on the images to go to the artists who made the art. But I have all the artists linked here as what they've done. So let's go ahead and full screen our display capture. I want to talk about this. Let's reset the transform and then squeeze it down to a normal size. There we go. Glad to see I still got my my OBS skills intact. So this is it. This is the mood board. So these here, these two centerpieces, they're at the center because they're like the core of everything. And here, let me full screen from. They're at the center because they're the core of everything here. So this one on the left, this is a redesign that Cherry threw together recently, a sketch. Cherry Choose that I really, really like. I was talking to Cherry about all this, about wanting to redesign my look. And Cherry threw together, specifically what I talked to Cherry about is I wanted to be a little bit more authentically me, specifically with my body and how I look. And so Cherry threw this together, and this is a lot more accurate to my actual body type. Obviously a little bit like artistically accentualized, but yeah, this is significantly closer to what I look like and how I want to, portray myself. Cherry has seen me in real life, which it helps quite a bit in this depiction. Obviously, Duke sees me too, but he sees me every single day, and that means like, when you like live with somebody every day, like it's like what I was talking about with the isolation thing, where you don't really think about the stuff around your house, you just intuit it. Duke sees me every day. I'm no longer like a collection of looks to him. I am the thing he has in his brain, and it's hard to get down to the specifics of that when. Yeah, like it's kind of hard to. It's just why it's hard to visually and physically describe your partner, right? Anyways, so this is the Cherry one, but as you can see, it's got like a crop top that's tied off here and some bows and stuff. It's very cute, but it is still that frilly look that I'm kind of stepping away from a little bit. This here is fan art by Fababana on Twitter. I got this recently. This was a surprise. They just added me with this. I talked about the redesign on my Twitter, and this came in a couple weeks after. I fucking love this. This is so great. This is exactly the vibe and look I want to go with. So basically, the idea is 3.0 is going to be a merge of these two. This is going to be the body. This is going to be the vibe. I love this. I love it so much. And that's the look. So the left here, I've talked about the outfit and how I want it to look, what I want the goals for it to be. And then I've got an example of, well, this is just loose top fabric examples, which I'll get to when we get to the outfit. And this is the vibes examples. Of the vibes I want to go for. You can see, like, I hate the schoolgirl vibe, but this is the kind of pose I'm talking about. These two poses here are very much like kind of the attitude I'm going for. This one here is another one. This one's like a little gothier than what I'm going for, but generally very, very much towards the vibes. This here is an example of showing a lot of skin and being hot, but not being explicitly sexual, which is something I mentioned up here, and hot, not too hot, because I'm attractive. But I'm not trying to be like sexually attractive, I guess. It's the best way I can. Also, I put bunlith in here. You can't read it, it's way too small. But I said here, TBH, just take bunlith and remove the goth, and we're pretty close to the vibe. And then I said in very small text, oh, huh, I guess I've been heavily influenced here, huh? Yeg. But yeah, these are the vibes that I threw in. So let me go through everything. Let me go through the vibes here. I said hot, not too hot. I'm attractive and I want to own it. I'm not just cute, I am hot, but I'm not horny. I said, if Bunlith is a horny 6, and sorry, I'm trying to scroll away from the chat here. If Bunlith is a horny 6 and Buff Pup is an 8, sorry, Bunlith and Buff Pup. I'm just this is the first people that came into my head. I want to be a 4.5, if that makes sense, right? Like, you know what I mean? That gets the vibe across. And then I said, also not thin. I want to own that too. Left sketches basically nailed the body shape. Yeah. Hacker girl, I'm a gamer, let's face it. I got less in common with princesses and more with 80s tech lesbians. I'm gamer slouch, but kind of hot with it. Not gremlin, cool, confident energy. This is important to me because whenever you think of like gamer girl, like you think of, okay, here's a great example. Diva from Overwatch. There are 2 versions of Diva from Overwatch. There is Gremlin Dorito Mountain Dew Diva from Overwatch, and then there is this Schoolgirl. Freaky nasty. What's the design of the shirt? That's a Slurpee, because I'm all about them Slurpees. But yeah, that's a very important distinction to me, because I'm not a gremlin. I'm not gremlin gamer with it, right? I'm self-confident, right? In a way that, I mean, I guess gremlin isn't not confident, but it's not the vibe I'm going for. And then I wrote 20% cooler. Edgier, but more like Sonic and less like Shadow, which is, when I say like that some of these are a little too goth for the direction I'm going, that's what I mean. Like, this is not a goth look, but it's definitely edgier, right? Kind of, I wrote somewhere in here, Twowy vibes. The world ends with you, because that's kind of the idea. Confident and relaxed, less girly, but still undeniably femme, right? Because like, I'm not trying to go butch is the thing, right? No disrespect to our butches, I salute the troops. But it's not me, right? But like I am still undeniably like femme in like actions, presentation, etc., whatever. But not like girly femme, right? Not like cutesy, I guess. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking there. So that's the vibes. That's the vibes I'm going for. In terms of outfit, we're gonna get to this thing over here. Oh, there's technically boobs on this. I'll probably be fine. Outfit goes flowy low-cut top. Fabric should low sleeve. There's gonna be a lot of boob talk here. Listen, when you have double Ds, it influences your outfit significantly. Flowy low-cut top. Fabric should fall loosely over the boobs. Crop top, off the shoulder, or tank top. As low-cut as we can get without being overtly sexual. This is like a lot of the tops I have been starting to wear in real life. They're just one, comfortable, two, attractive, hot, and I don't know, I like them. High waist short shorts, ripped up denim, short enough that the pockets poke out the sides, almost meets the end of the crop top. Little bit of tummy poking out. Pretty much Cherry nailed the amount of tummy I'm talking about. Cause a little bit of tummy, mwah, it's classy, it's respectable, it's delicious. Thigh high socks, no tears. I specified no tears in here. These are clean, right? This is important for the design, the cohesiveness of it. And a little bit of in between the sock and the shorts. So you got a little bit of thigh poking out. Again, a little bit of thigh, a little bit of tasteful thigh going on. Boots, kind of punk, but not too punk. Neither of these are really probably what I would go with. Maybe these ones. Oops, I can't zoom in any further. Maybe these ones on the right. But yeah, like I'm not looking for goth, but looking for some like punker, 20% cooler, edgier, but not Sonic less Shadow. You get it. Fingerless gloves. So this is a funny thing. In real life, I wear fingerless gloves all the time. Specifically because I get very cold hands. I have bad circulation, but I cannot wear full finger gloves. It really fucks with my I have hypersensitivity. And I cannot wear full finger gloves. It fucks with me so bad. So I wear fingerless gloves all the time in real life. And so and they're pink as well. So I'm incorporating that in because I like it. Optional hoodie. If I was a VTuber, I would call it toggleable. Oversized, sleeves too long, hangs lower than the shorts cover, fingers poke out from the sleeves very slightly, somehow baggy yet fitted, Twowy vibes. This is inspired by this look here specifically. This is a hoodie under a shirt, which is a hell of a look, by the way, that nobody in real life wears. But yeah, it's inspired by this. I really like just the kind of dangliness of it. It also creates a nice, it shakes up the silhouette in a really nice way. And what I mean by like baggy yet fitted is this, see the way the sleeves puff out here? Like this is clearly oversized and baggy, yet it seems contoured to my arms in this picture. This is exactly what I'm talking about for all of it. Basically this entire outfit, baggy yet fitted is accurate here, except I guess the shirt and the shorts are gonna be skin tight, but, and then we got accessories here. Accessories, I'm not an artist. And I don't think so good. So I don't even know what to put here. I said probably need to incorporate Slurpee iconography somewhere. Example here is the Slurpee. I said I like the belt and bows on the shorts and bracelets from, and there's an up arrow to cherries thing, but they're a bit too frilly for the new aesthetic. Don't get too goth though. See vibe section. Painted nails, question mark? Think about painted nails, right? Great look, 100% of the time. I am a nail biter. I'm also incapable of like, it's the texture thing, okay? It's the same thing with full finger gloves. I can't do certain things. I type a lot, right? It would get in the way. If I had nice nails, that is. So like I don't paint my nails ever, and I don't really get my nails done because I would just bite them and they would get in the way. However, the magic of the internet and artistic depictions of ourselves is that I can cheat a little bit. Like a part of this is trying to get like a very authentic version of me, because things like crop tops and like high-waisted shorts, like that is something that I've been working into my fashion lately. Like that kind of relaxed, cool vibe is something I've been working in lately. I know that sounds like silly because I just talked about those selfies I recently posted, and in them I was wearing like a bright yellow, like golden yellow dress. First off, it's the human experience, baby. We got no rules. It is whatever we do, whatever we choose to do. Second, motherfucker, it's summer. It's the summer. You gotta look good. You gotta look the part with summer. I'm not wearing all this shit in summer, and it's nice. And it makes my boobs look nice. It's great. But yeah, so that's kind of what I've been trying to go for, is a much more authentic version of me. Because the current Sophie 2.0 design, the puffy pink sweater and like the basic skirt, excuse me, it's fine. It is not inaccurate to my old wardrobe. But the thing is, my old wardrobe was kind of dripless. I posted a Curious Cat ask recently, an answer rather. Somebody asked me about my style and how I have kind of come to find that style. And the thing is, I had a style. And it was all right. It was decent. Tight pants, relatively well-fitted shirt, no graphic tee, just a plain shirt, and like a nice like biker jacket type thing over top. It's a great look. Then I gained weight because I worked an IT job, and then I worked a streamer job, and all my clothes didn't fit anymore. And I never really worked on redesigning the style or getting back to the style. So I just kind of was wearing dripless outfits for like cute dripless, like, you know, a nice bright sweater and stuff is cute, right? It's enough where it's like, okay, yeah, you're not wearing hoodie and jeans. You're doing decent, but it's, sorry, darling. He just went, ooh. But you know, it's still not much. So I've been fixing that lately. I've been starting to get clothes again, and I'm trying to incorporate that, make it authentic. And it's also a part of that idea of back when I had Sophie 2.0 designed, I didn't know who I was or what I wanted to be or what I was like. And so, like the outfit I chose is super basic because I did not have any idea of what I wanted to be in detail, right? Like it all connects. Anyways. And then I talk about the palette here. I don't know if this is how you showcase a palette. Is this right, Duke? Huh? The palette that I added. Is this right? Is that how you do that?
Yeah, you just color pick.
Cool. All right. I just color picked. It's the same color. It's literally the exact color palette from this one because I love this a lot actually. I'm not an artist, so I don't know how to showcase it. And I just said light main colors with darker colors as accents. Same idea as this one. So basically, the point of that is I really like, because Favorite Band actually did 3 versions of this outfit with different different usages of the palette. And the first one was closer to my current palette order in that, you know, the shirt was the bright pink and then the accents were the lighter pinks. And then I saw this one and it's the dark accents with the light core. And oh my God, it pops so hard. It is so much more striking and visually interesting. So I want to stick with this. I really like this palette usage. So this is the goal here. But yeah, that's basically everything. The loose top fabric examples. I am very picky about how I want fabric to be. Like, I love, genuinely one of my things I'm most passionate about when it comes to clothes is just the way that fabric loosely dangles off of a pair of boobies. I'm sorry, it looks nice. This one here, this is by, I should also credit everybody. Hang on, I don't know who the credit for this. This is an anime model, who cares? This is by Max Grek, this is by Circle, this is by, how do you say that? Anna Koluth? I don't know. Anakouluthh. This one is by Four Leaf Island, and this one is Naturally Bunlith. Botster on Twitter. Anyways, this one here by Wizart, whatever, is a great example of that looseness I'm talking about, where like it's like, and then it's just like a classic. It flows, you know? This one here is another Circle piece, and it's just, I really like all the fabric in this, the way it just kind of loosely flows. This one here, less about fabric, although it is there. I mentioned in here that this one is closest to what my actual cleavage looks like. I outed myself, I guess. And I said, I'm not sure if I want to incorporate this exactly, that like, because you can't really see, but there's some like, it's not like pressed up, right? There's gap. It's wide chest. And I'm not sure if I want to incorporate this. I might. I don't want Twitch to yell at me, so I'm gonna not zoom in too close. Anyways, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to incorporate it, but I might because it's, again, authentic and kind of a look. Over here is this gamer thing from Ashley Loon, I believe that says. Hang on, I really got to zoom in for these. These are some small... Ashley Loob, I think it is. L-O-O-B. Maybe? That last letter is just impossible to read, actually. That's my bad. Anyways, this one is a great example of that hoodie over tank top look, right? The way it's all loose. And then this last one here is super horny furry art, by the way. But by Captains. And it's cute, and it's I don't know. It's the idea. It's the sweater and tank top combo that I'm talking about. See how it's like loose fabric in here, but it's overall tighter, and then the hoodie itself is completely loose and baggy. That's the vibe. That's the vibe. Anyways, yeah, that's everything. A few of my friends have been like, "Hey, Sophie, noticing a lot of furries in here," and then like pointing and laughing. I am not going full furry. Obviously, no shade to furries. My husband is a big shark man on the internet. It's just not my vibe. It's not like I am very. So Duke has described me the other day as animal neutral, which I think is very accurate. I think animals are okay. They're fine. They're pretty cool. It's not like I have anything against animals. They are not as interesting to me as they are to some people. They're not as like. I don't point and get excited as much as some others do. Not that it's an issue. The fact is that furries just have good art and fashion sense. Furries just kind of pop off. And also that most of my friends are furries. So when I am scrolling down my Tumblr dashboard looking for like reference images and like inspirational images for this look, I end up seeing a lot of furries that end up having the looks that I'm looking for.
Thanks, Val.
Thanks, Val. Thanks, Val Breakbeat Fun, for getting me that. But yeah, but this is the mood board. Yeah, like I said, I want to eventually have some sort of interactable, like sourced version of this for the art, because I don't want to repost this as it is with all this art because it just feels weird. But on a Twitch stream, I think it's okay because the context is inherent to the platform. One more run through all the names. Let's go do it. I don't know who the fuck this anime chick is. That's probably just merch from a TV show. This one I don't care enough about. This is clearly not an independent person. Max Grek for this pose. Sergal for this one. Anna Koluth. How do you pronounce that shit? Four Leaf Island for this one, and a natural. I didn't even credit this one. It's fucking Bunlith. We all know it's goddamn Bunlith. And then up here we got Wizart. Hang on. Wizart, Sergal, Wotoy, Ashley Lube, or Loon. I feel like it's Lube. And this one is Captains over here, Captynz. If you can't read any of these and you're looking for sources or anything, or you want to find these, please let me know. You can DM me, you can shoot me an @ on Twitter, you can ping me in the Discord, you can do whatever you want. I will get you the direct source to the person and share that, because I am not trying to repost art. I want to make sure all these people are credited, because you know what, they're inspirational for my new look, and they're helping me a lot with finding a design, and I appreciate that. Yeah, this one again, I want to clarify because I kind of glossed over this one here because we hadn't gone through the outfit stuff. This one here is not the vibe I'm looking for basically at all, except for the fact that it is a very, like, it's showing a lot of skin and it is very clearly attractive, but it's not like sexual, right? Like, this is not like the art you draw when you're trying to fuck the art, I guess. I don't know how to, good phrasing. Like, that is what I mean when I say, like, hot but not too hot, right? Because frankly, a lot of this also came from, I tweeted about this. Remember bunny outfit day? I was looking at that and like, listen. It's my own, my own bed that I've made, and I shall lie in it. My audience is very great, very, very awesome and strong, and genuinely very appreciated, like boundaries, understandings of my boundaries. And I really appreciate that. I'm married. I am extremely lucky to not get very many weird, like horny dudes in DMs, which not all of my friends can say. I thankfully, I have that sort of, that benefit. I'm not sexualized in any way by my audience, which I do appreciate because I don't want to be. However, I feel a little left out sometimes. Feel a little bit left out sometimes. So I'm going to talk about this in more specifics down the line with what I'm okay with how I'm okay with being drawn and how I'm not. I'm actually I have like a planned diagram in my head with examples to give very direct explanations on how I wish to be depicted. The long and short of it is, so like, let's use Mira as an example, okay? Mira's pretty close in the bubble and has a different sort of vibe with the audience. Mira is also like has a very decently like boundary appropriate chat, but Mira is more comfortable being more sexually depicted, right? And Mira's side of fan arts that are like the recent Donut Moth merch, for example, which is like kind of like a succubus type looking thing, looks great. Not okay with that for me. That would not be okay. However, that one meme that somebody did with the redraw of why do they call this a restroom? I'm fighting for my life in here, and it's Mira doing the poop. That's fine. Like that kind of thing is okay. Like that's funny. Another example is my fucking background, my desktop background. Hang on. My desktop background is me as a mermaid with a big shark as Duke. And I'm not wearing a shirt in this. This is obscured nudity because I'm a mermaid. But you know what? It's cute and it's okay because it's not like sexual. I'm a mermaid. That's all it is. That's normal. That's fine. So the idea is like, you know, I'm allowed to be attractive. I'm not allowed to be sexualized. Basically, I don't know. That's the vibe I'm going for. I'll have more specific talk about it when I do have the full new model designed and I reveal it. Tasteful, yeah, that's the word. Just tasteful. But yeah, this is it. I'm excited about this. I really am excited. I'm like really excited to have this new Sona devised because it's gonna be a lot more me. You know what actually is funny is one of my favorite corner arts that I use. Let me pull this up. Is this drawing Duke made of me for Valorant. And I don't think I like actively realized it until recently, but I think the reason I like it so much is because it's actually very close to this new vibe. This is me as a character in Valorant, because I played that when it first launched for like a couple weeks. It's one of the characters, the one with the bombs. I don't remember what her name is, but the rocket launcher bomb girl. And it's just her outfit, but it's very close. It's a lot closer to the actual vibe that I'm trying to stick to. So I think it's funny that that's one of my favorites. It's also another one of my favorites that Duke's done is not that. Well, I mean this one's great, but it's not the one I was trying to look for. Is this one? This one of Riku where we turned the heart in the outfit into a boob window. By the way. My IQ is incredible for suggesting this. This is my suggestion, by the way, I'm pretty sure. Literally 10 million IQ. This is another one of my favorite Duke arts because it's closer to this new aesthetic, this aesthetic that I'm going for. I think I always subconsciously recognize that this is like closer to the vibe I associate with myself. I just didn't like make the connection until recently. That art fucks, honestly. It really does. Both of them are great. But yeah, that's the idea. That's what I'm going for. Basically, just take these two things and stick them together. Change the outfit a little bit. As much as I love this, I don't want to take it wholesale. But yeah, that's me. That's where I'm at. That's what I'm gonna be doing. Let me shrink this Zelda back down because I think we're just gonna chat for a bit. That's what I've been up to. I had a shit week, like actually the worst week of my life, and then I had a pretty good rest of the time. Well, I had a neutral few weeks, and now I'm having a pretty darn good few weeks. That's where I'm at. I hope everybody's feeling good. I hope y'all enjoyed hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead and kill the trigger warning. Going forward, I'm done talking about spooky hospital stuff. I'm gonna go re-announce the stream real quick. Let me go to, I mean, we've been stopping talking about that for a while, but I'm officially calling it off now. Let me go to my stream channel and say at everyone and say trigger warning is now over. Anyone who stepped away is free to safely come back. Smiley face. I kept missing the enter button. There we go. Let me get rid of that on the title as well. Hit the done button, and there we go. How are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling? Thank you all for being here and chatting and letting me talk a bunch. I've been doing a lot of Q&A stuff. I remade a Curious Cat, and I've been loving it. Sometimes a bitch just wants to talk about herself. And so I figured, why not incorporate that into today's stream? It's a really fitting thing to do on a return from hiatus. It does not have to be about my hiatus. In fact, I would even say if it's about the hospital slash surgery stuff specifically, probably best to not talk about it here because I have just dropped the trigger warning. But just a generalized Q&A. If there's anything y'all want to ask about, how I've been feeling, about how there's new stuff, about what I've been doing, about anything at all, go ahead and toss it out. If you do have questions that are specific to the triggering topics before, you can toss them in my Curious Cat, and I can respond to them with appropriate trigger warnings in the actual Discord. But yeah, your Instacart shopper just tried to replace your cayenne pepper with curry powders. I've had some weird Instacart replacements too. My least favorite one is when you ask for something dairy free and they give you the dairy version. It's like, dude, they want you to shit so bad. They want me to shit so bad. Like, I am a little lactose intolerant. It's not super bad, but I do get an icky tummy sometimes when I eat anything with dairy. And I love sour cream, and I don't like most dairy-free products is the thing, right? I think most dairy-free products are pretty shitty. They taste bad. However, there is a dairy-free sour cream brand in my town. I can't say what it is because it might be local and I don't want to dox myself, but it's fucking delicious. It's better than regular sour cream because it tastes pretty much identical, maybe even slightly better. And it doesn't get like watery. You know how regular sour cream, as you have it in your fridge, it separates and it gets less and less like the consistency gets more and more watery and loose. It doesn't happen with the dairy-free sour cream, and I love it. And also it has the added benefit of not making me poop my pants. So it's it's pretty handy in that regard. And I always ask for it on the delivery apps, and then they're like, they don't have it. I get you regular pooping sauce. Can't hear sour cream without thinking of the Steven Universe character. I forgot about the Steven Universe character. We are not the same. All I remember about sour cream, the character from Steven Universe, is the episode where you get to see sour cream as a baby, and he's got the Lenny eyes face, and I really like it. And I always thought it was very fun. But yeah, hit me up. We're doing the Q&A section. If y'all got questions, if y'all want to ask me stuff, anything at all about games, upcoming games I'm making, about upcoming streams we're gonna do, about upcoming shit, about how I've been feeling, about my new design, anything. Just watch an episode. Oh wait, no. What are some of your favorite shows? I like Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul are probably the best shows. We just watched them. We did just watch them. I rewatched them. I'd already seen them. Well, yeah. I love both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. I think they're phenomenal. However, that being said, I am not a TV show watcher, and I never have been. It's a huge commitment to watch a TV show. That being said, I have a lot of favorites from when I was younger that I still believe are fun. So I'm gonna pick you're gonna hear a lot of kids shows, even though I don't really watch a ton of kids shows these days. No shade, I get it. It's just not what I'm into too much anymore. The Kids Next Door, I always thought was phenomenal. I loved The Kids Next Door. I thought it was really fun. It felt very much like the kind of media that kids actually want instead of the things that people think kids want. You know what I mean? Like, in the same way that Spy Kids to me is like, yeah, this is what kids actually want, not what they think kids want. Spy Kids and Kids Next Door have that same vibe to me. I love Kids Next Door a lot. What are some other shows that I really like? Oh, that's actually a good question of myself. Like I said, I didn't really like a ton of TV shows. Obviously, Steven Universe. I like, as much as there's a lot of discourse around that, I legitimately think Steven Universe was like one of the most important things to ever be broadcast on TV in terms of LGBTQ acceptance on television networks. Because Rebecca Sugar's work is the reason we are able to have shit like Owl House do what they do. Like, Rebecca Sugar literally changed the entire Western world with Steven Universe. And don't at me, I'm right. What else? What are some other shows? Oh, Adventure Time. Classic. Everybody loves Adventure Time. I rewatched it actually very recently. And I still think it's great. I actually probably enjoyed it more than when I watched it the first time because I didn't have to deal with waiting for new episodes to come out. Adventure Time is still really strong. And some of those early seasons of Adventure Times that are kind of cringe, hashtag cringe to get through, some of them are actually kind of funny. Like, they are still hashtag cringe and hard to get through. But some of the jokes actually had me, like, laughing. And I was surprised. I was like, oh, shit. Yeah, Adventure Time's great. I'm probably just leave it there. I don't have a ton of favorite shows, but yeah. Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad are my, like, modern favorite 2 shows. And probably just my overall favorites. Let me go ahead and catch up because there's been a bunch of questions. Will Rust with Gibson return soon? I don't know about soon. I have a bit of a layout of stuff I'm going to be doing in the future. I'm going to be playing Half-Life 1 M mod, which released basically while I was in the hospital, which is very exciting for me because M mod is a very popular Half-Life 2 mod. I don't personally like it, but I do like the idea of it. It's fun. It's just like not how I would enjoy to play Half-Life 2. And I would probably not prefer to play Half-Life 1 with M-Mod on, but I would like to play Half-Life 1 with M-Mod on at least once. I'm very excited about that. So that'll be doing, I have a Kingdom Hearts thing planned in the future, which is a little bit of a secret. It's very exciting, but I will be playing a Kingdom Hearts game in the future with a bit of a twist. I'm gonna be doing some stuff with Penny. We have to finally go back and play Ponytown. That's not what it's called. The Pony MMO, whatever it was called. Sorry that I forget. And I'm also gonna be showing her an MMO from my childhood that sucks ass that I absolutely have nostalgic love for. It's called Cabal Online. None of you have heard of it. So that'll be something I'm doing. And then I'm gonna be doing more Couples Craft streams. So I've got my future, like, plans are pretty booked. But I will absolutely be playing Rust again, and I am certain that Gibson will return. It's funny that you mentioned Gibson specifically, though, because Gibson is just one of the many people I have played Rust with recently. But yeah, no, that'll absolutely return. I guess that in my VODs, I think the ones with the Rust gameplay on my VODs are just with Gibson because I accidentally lost the VODs for the car stuff. Sorry about that, by the way. I was in the hospital when it was all going through. I actually feel terrible about it. I lost a lot of VODs because I didn't upload them before I went to the hospital. Oh well, is what it is. Any comments on Half-Life 1 Ray Traced? Yeah, I actually planned on playing it, and I probably still will. It's silly. I mean, it's like any Ray Trace mod where it's like very clearly not good. My biggest issue with it is that they add a lot of like grain to the lighting, which is just a Ray Trace thing. But it looks like, I think they're trying to simulate dust or something in an underground environment, which I get it. But it's actually like impossible to see anything in the footage I've seen of Half-Life 1 Ray Traced. It is like difficult to parse the environment. It's pretty hard to see. But I'm still gonna play it because it's fun. It's just funny, whatever. It's cool. It's a cool technical achievement. Do I have an estimate of when Couples Craft Apocalypse PvP? Excuse me, I'm hiccuping. PvP test will happen. I do. Scare Beetle Sync with the follow. I'm gonna say in the next month. Hopefully shorter, but it all depends on my personal work flow. What's the word? Work ethic, that's the word. It all depends on my personal work ethic. I have very little to do to finish Couples Craft for the PvP test. I am basically ready to do it. I just need to add a couple weapons, which does not take me a while, and then I need to get a server ready. But I am also working on a video essay, which I am very, very actively excited about. Holy fuck, I went down a rabbit hole recently too, by the way, y'all. Oh my god, I can't talk about it because it's spoilers, but god, that's been taking up my entire brain. And then yeah, I'm just in general doing a lot of stuff. So it will almost certainly be within the next month, unless I am extremely slow, which can happen. But it will hopefully be sooner than that. I'm very excited to do it. I really do want to get on it. Yeah, so soon TM. Were your cats mad at you for being gone or for not letting them sit on you? Because I know your dogs were upset about your surgery. So fun fact about that. The cats were very sad for the first day or two that I was gone. I actually heard them meowing in the background of Duke's call at a couple of points. They were hunting the house, looking for me. They were very sad. Eventually they got used to it. When I got home, they were very excited to see me for a little bit, and then they chilled out again. Cats are just like that, right? You know, they're like, oh, thank God, good, things are normal. And then they went back to their stuff. But they said hi, and they got excited to see me for a little bit. That being said, with the not being allowed to sit on me thing, so Marshmallow, his favorite 2 spots to sleep are on Duke's ass and my breasts. Those are his favorite spots to sit. Like absolute no exception. And so I couldn't risk him like stepping on me and damaging the sutures while I was asleep. So we had to keep the doors closed. And Marshmallow was kind of okay with this. He's a chill cat, but Grillbert is not. Grillbert is a little abandonment anxiety little freak boy. And he would sob and he would meow and he would claw at the door. And we had to set up like a barricade to block him from clawing the door and anywhere around it, because he would just, every time we made a barricade, he would just go to the side of the barricade and claw there. Eventually, Grillberg got used to it, and he was normal, and he was okay. And now we can keep the door open at night again, because I'm doing all right. But yeah, Marshmallow also, though, has started, like, near the end of it, like, kind of inverse to Grillberg getting used to it, Marshmallow has started yelling and demanding to be let into the bedroom. And he still does it if the bedroom door is closed, regardless of what the context is. So he's got a little bit more feisty about it. So yeah, definitely mad about everything that has happened. But they're okay. They're doing good. Let's see, what else do we got for questions? Also, somebody just briefly mentioned that Steven Universe is flawed as all hell, but at the time it was so necessary. Yeah, I agree. I tend to be more positive about Steven Universe, about most things, than most people are. For example, I still think that the finale goes hard as fuck, especially considering how, like, rushed it had to legitimately be. I still think that finale is one of my favorite, like, episodes of television to this day. I cry every time. I think it's beautiful. I get why people are upset about the diamonds shit. I think it's whatever. I don't care that much. And in general, I'm mostly positive on it. Although I will say, I am a Steven Universe future hater. I'm sorry. It's the pacing. I don't care about the plot. The plot's fine. I think the pacing is hard to watch about Steven Universe future. But yeah, it is flawed. It's definitely got some rough episodes. The worst episode of Steven Universe is easily the one where Steven has to, like, deal with his right-wing uncle or whatever. And they aired it, like, I think within the month that Trump was elected. That was the worst thing that they had ever done. Like, I know that it was the network's fault, and that wasn't on purpose, probably. But Jesus Christ, what fucking timing was that? Nobody needed to see that at that point. The racist uncle episode. Literally terrible timing. Nobody in the world needed to see that when that came out. Do I have any plans on joining Soxcrest SMP? Maybe. I kind of want to, but I also don't know if I want to. If I do, I have a plan for what I will be doing. But I have not sat down and decided to join it. I'm thinking about it still, basically. Depends on how things go going forward. Because right now, Soxcraft is very established, and if I join right now, I will be forcing my whatever I want to do, my bit, into the sort of established day-to-day, which isn't like a bad thing. We're all friends, so it's not an issue. But my thing is inherently disruptive, and if I do join, I want to make sure it's at a point where disruption is going to be it's going to be a healthy kind of disruption, and not just, hey, everybody's been doing the same, like, we've been working on projects for like a few weeks and everything's ruined now. That sucks, right? So it all depends on that. And then you also asked, do I plan on doing stuff with friends like Barotrauma? Absolutely. I want to stream more with friends just in general. I've actually privately, I've talked about, like, I've been getting more confident, et cetera, et cetera. I also have been reaching out to friends a lot more. I already mentioned that I'm going to be doing the MMO stuff with Penny coming up, but I have been talking to people all the time lately, reaching out more, hanging out with people more, and it's been super healthy for me. And I want to take that into streams as well. Barotrauma, I already have, I have another friend recently who talked to me and says she wants to play Barotrauma because she has nobody else to play it with. And so she'll be joining us at some point, almost certainly. And then also, like, just the whole gang. Barotrauma is really just a matter of scheduling for everybody. And I'd love to, I definitely plan on doing it more. And that goes for everything. I'm going to be doing a lot more friend stuff. All right, what other questions have we gotten here? You've been working on a Minecraft mod, but you're not too sure on the details. Would you mind shedding some light? Oh, yes. Okay, so it's not a Minecraft mod. It's a Minecraft game mode. And the reason I make the distinction is because it's actually entirely vanilla, technically. It is a server. It's a multiplayer server, and it's basically a game. It is. I call it a game because it is one. I am using Minecraft essentially as an engine to make a full overhaul game. So it is a PvPvE game, like Tarkov, like Escape from Tarkov, like Dark and Darker is popular recently, unfortunately. Whoops, Sophie's beef got out. Dark and Darker, I played Legends, something Agartha recently. That was, nobody knows about that one. Frontiers, all sorts of PvPvE games are coming out lately. Fucking Call of Duty did one, Warzone or whatever it is. So it's a PvPvE type game. But it is Minecraft Hunger Games OG. No, it's not like Hunger Games. That's Battle Royale. So it's a PvPvE game, but it is in Minecraft, and it is specifically the design goal is most PvPvE games are very inaccessible, and the only ones that are accessible lack the depth and complexity of the less accessible ones. For example, I think Tarkov, and the community would not agree with me on this, but I think Tarkov, from like a game design POV, is genuinely a masterpiece of game design. I think it is incredible what they've done. There's obviously some serious big flaws with it, but overall, I think Tarkov is incredibly crisp in its design. I really like it. However, as I've talked about at length on my Tarkov streams, it is the learning curve is a fucking mountain. Like, it is climbing Mount Everest kind of learning curve. It's stupid, and it's not necessary. There's a lot of things that could be done to change that. So basically, I really like Tarkov. I really do. It's one of my favorite games, genuinely. But I don't like I don't like how inaccessible it is, and so I figured, you know what? Minecraft is one of the most accessible games ever. Not in terms of actual game design accessibility, because it's very obtuse, but just because, just by way of being one of the most popular games of all time, everybody knows Minecraft. So the goal is to make a PvPvE game using Minecraft as a base to create accessibility. So, for example, in Tarkov, you have to learn a bunch of shit like, oh, what kind of bullet goes in this magazine, and then this magazine connects to this gun, and blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then there's 30 different types of every fucking bullet because they've all got different levels of armor penetration and blah, blah, blah. And like, I think that's fun, but it's also a huge learning curve, so that's gone. But then I also want to preserve a lot of the stuff that Tarkov does. For example, I really like the explorative nature of it. I really like the decision-making you have to do in looting. Like, hey, do I keep this thing that benefits me immediately, or do I take this thing that I might not get home safely, but if I do, it will be worth way more to me in the long run if I can, take it home and successfully. And I think that fits really well with Minecraft, because that's already a thing you do in Minecraft base. But Minecraft has the added level of crafting. Like live crafting. Tarkov technically has crafting, but it's only like something you do at your base, and it's just you click a couple buttons and then it crafts in the background automatically while you're off doing other things. So I think Minecraft really adds a lot of depth to that system, because in Tarkov, let's say I have a thing worth 10,000 rubles in my inventory, and I open a box and there's something worth 30,000 rubles, but it's also twice the size of my 10,000 ruble thing. Do I take the 30,000 and waste future backpack space that could potentially go to something that is that like a total higher worth? Or do I stick with that 10,000 thing in the hopes that I find other like 10,000 plus items that are also small enough to fit in my backpack to get it, to see what I end up with in total in terms of value. But Minecraft has that layer of, okay, do I do that same question? Or do I take this item that I could potentially craft into something useful, even though it is completely useless to me on its own, and take it with me right now? And then another level in which, hey, I have the materials to craft this item. Do I craft it now to make it instantly like useful, like a sword, for example? Or do I save, say, the iron ingots for later for something more like long-term useful, like a piece of armor, right? You get all of these extra layers to the decision-making. And I think Minecraft, just so much of it fits really well with that PvPvE genre. So I talk about it all on my developer announcement stream, which is saved as a VOD on YouTube. I highly recommend checking it out if you're interested. I have an entire combo system built from the ground up for it that's inspired by Minecraft dungeons. Enemies are going to be customly animated. The map is going to be big and made by us. I've got a couple custom plugins, but for the most part, it is vanilla in terms of how to access it. That's another big important thing for me in terms of accessibility, is that you could play it on a library computer. That's really important to me, because that's what makes Minecraft popular in the first place, is that anybody could probably run it on their shitty little PC, right? And so I don't want to have any mod dependencies, so everything is being done with server plugins, which you don't need to download anything to support. There's a couple optional downloads that I'll be including to make the experience a little better, but it's completely not necessary. The only things that the server has is a resource pack. Everything else is just done server side, and it is kind of crazy how much I've been able to push it. Like, I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm very, very excited with the stuff I have managed to force that engine to do. And I have a secret trick up my sleeve that I haven't revealed, and I won't be revealing for a few months. But if I can get it to work, I'm going to blow everybody's fucking minds. That's just a little bit of an excitement piece for you. But yeah, PvP test is coming up for that though. So if y'all want to see how the combo system works in terms of PvP fighting, that will be up. Once that's done, you'll have access to every single regular weapon that will be in Couples Craft, assuming I don't decide to make more, which I probably won't. The weapon system is going to be a little bit expanded based on like it's you know, Minecraft has sword, shovel, axe, pickaxe. It's going to have all of those as weapon variants, as well as a bunch of others that are inspired by or taken from Minecraft dungeons, like the daggers. It's going to have a big warhammer, and a couple other things I can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, so there's going to be quite a few, and they're all going to have their own combos, and you'll be able to fight other players with them, as well as test them on some testing dummies while we're in there, and you get to see how they feel. It's going to be excited. You just need Java Minecraft downloaded to be able to participate. That is correct. Join the Discord. It'll all be explained in there, but you just need Minecraft. Like I said, library computer. Okay, moving on. See a lot of people saying awesome. Looking for more questions. Hang on. See, I'm in terms of like where I am in like scrolling down chat, I'm all the way back at like people talking about the racist uncle episode of Steven Universe. I know there's more questions. I saw people bringing up questions. I'm just scrolling. There's also, oh, actually, I'm gonna pause right here because this isn't a question, but I'm still gonna address it. Zapiza Man said, there's also enchanting in Minecraft, which produces some risk/reward, but you're not sure if you're going in that direction. Couples Craft is not going to have enchanting or netherite armor. They are both super broken and will not be healthy for the game state. They're not gonna be included. I will have alternatives to the armor system in general is going to be slightly different, and the enchantment system is going to probably be, if not entirely gutted, it will be mostly gutted. It will be like, you will find an item that has a enchantment on it already, and it won't be anything that vanilla Minecraft has enchantment-wise on it. If I even add enchantments in general, they're not necessarily important for the way the gameplay loop is going to work, because y'all know me, I like glass cannons, so most of the enemies are going to go down pretty quick anyways, and you're always going to be supposed to be weak. It's a glass cannon type of game. That's how I go, so yeah. Side question with regards to Apocalypse. Val asks, any plans for a scythe type weapon? You're begging. I am see, here's the thing. I'm a scythe hater. I'm sorry. I know it's slanderous. I have never been interested in scythes. As somebody who has played a little bit with weapons in real life, I have some martial arts training. Scythes just seem unwieldy to me. I physically don't like them. I think they're awkward to swing around, and the cool factor doesn't offset it for me. I'm sorry. However, with that being said, yeah, I'm still adding scythes to Couples Craft. Because I'm adding weapon variants of every tool in base Minecraft, because a big important part of it is how everything needs to feel familiar to a Minecraft player, and everything that's iconic about Minecraft needs to be added as added and then have a twist put on it. And hoes in Minecraft are basically scythes. So hoes are getting turned into scythes. You're getting your scythe. Girl who's never seen Soul Eater. I have seen the first episode of Soul Eater. Duke tried to show it to me. I couldn't get past it because it was very horny. I'd probably rewatch it. I'm actually not that unhappy about it or like, oh, this sucks. But I watched the first one and I was like, okay, bye. All right, I'm catching up a little bit now. Duke says you're literally making one of the main NPCs a scythe wielder. She doesn't even. Who?
One of the
Which one?
people.
Who would it
The
be?
green one.
The what?
The green one.
There's a lot of green ones.
No, one of the main 4 people. Remember, there's different colors, and one is a nature fucker, and they're gonna.
I don't remember. I'm sorry. Anyway. I think I'm caught up. I think, did I miss anybody's questions? Because I don't think I did. Somebody asked what Couples Craft was, and I basically just explained it. Full title is Couples Craft Apocalypse. Couples Craft was the name of my old subscriber-only Minecraft server. And Apocalypse is the name of the is with an asterisk the name of the game mode. I'm probably going to be changing it in the future though, because Apocalypse is kind of generic. I've always known this. At the time when I was first coming up with it, I was like, you know what? Nobody else has made a game mode called Apocalypse, so maybe the genericness of it can come to my benefit in terms of like, you know, I get to be the first one to use this otherwise common term. But frankly, I'm not super into it. So I probably will be changing that, and I'll be dropping the Couples Craft name entirely once we get to launch, because it started out as season 2 of the subscriber Minecraft server. It's not that anymore at all. I'm still calling it that for as a development term name, because it's easy to say and a little more specific than just saying Apocalypse. But whatever it is, it's gonna have a different name in the future. Anyways, Anyways, did I miss anything? Did I miss any questions? Did I miss any cues to A? I'm getting sweaty. We need a fan. Oh my god, we have fans. We should pull that out. It's still oh no, is it not? So is it still subscriber required? Scarab Beetle says no. Subscriptions are not going to be necessary for Apocalypse at all. It is going to be completely free to play. There will be paid cosmetics. However, no loot box, no battle pass. It will be a straight no fake currency. It will actually I might literally physically have to do a fake currency just to make it function, but it will not be presented as a fake currency. I will make sure it is presented as real money. This is just a system limit, like a mechanical limitation. Anyways, regardless, it will be, hey, this hat costs 99 cents. Pay 99 cents from your bank account and you get it forever, for all time. And that's how it works. Because I do need to, like, I think having it be free is really important for the accessibility angle, but also I have bills to pay. I'm putting a lot of time and even money in this. I've paid some folks to commission a couple custom plugins for it. So not to mention just buying plugins, because a lot of the best plugins for Minecraft that I kind of need to make this work the way I want it to are paid plugins. So gotta keep the lights on, gotta keep food on the table. That was a fun server. Also, would you ever do another server like it aside from Couples Craft Apocalypse? No. I had to think about that one. So the thing about the subscriber server is that it was fun for a while, but okay, let me actually go through the path and why I'm even making Apocalypse, right? So when I started the subscriber Minecraft server, it was fun. We had some fun. We did some events, and I was really happy with it. I got to use a little bit of my knowledge of Mythic Mobs, which is the core plugin that makes Apocalypse possible. It's basically a scripting plugin that lets me make completely custom all sorts of shit. But in the subscriber Minecraft server, the original Couples Craft, there was an issue I had where it was vanilla Minecraft with my changes. The biggest difference was the events, and more specifically the boss fights that we had. I would add bosses to the game. I only actually made one of them. The other ones were all from the development group Little Room. They were originally just going to be fillers while I made new bosses, and I actually did develop a lot of shit behind the scenes. I have a lot of halfway built mobs. But problem is, every time I released a Little Room mob to use as like filler, somebody would come in and fight it, and they would take 0 damage the entire fight. The moment that broke me was when I added Cerberus to the original Couples Craft. And I literally went into the code and I made it so every attack Cerberus did around 10 full hearts of damage, like enough to one-shot an unarmored person. And I was like, okay, there's no chance anybody's gonna survive this. It's like Cerberus is super mobile and has all sorts of attacks, and like a lot of them even lock you in place. There's no way you're gonna be able to avoid this shit. And I was like, this has got to be fine. This has got to like keep up. And then some people came in with full enchanted netherite and fought it, and literally didn't take a single like point of damage. And I was like, okay, there's no point to trying anymore, because it's impossible to balance something that is fun for everybody if the upper level of power is so high. And so that's why that's part of the reason I started working on a season 2 of Couples Craft in the first place, is so I could, originally my plan was to have just like Minecraft with custom mobs and stuff and remove some stuff I didn't like. Pretty close to what Socks Craft is right now, minus the forge parts, but just, well, actually, it's nothing like that. Closer to what Socks' other thing was. Socks' subscriber Minecraft server, I guess. Actually, no, that is what it was. Originally, I was going to do Socks' subscriber Minecraft server. Very similar idea to that. And then Socks made the subscriber Minecraft server. And the amount of work Socks put into that was beautiful and incredible, by the way. The amount of stuff Socks had in that server was incredible, but I could never have competed. Like it was just to a point where I was like, I can't match this. There's no reason for me to try. Like, it's not like I don't believe in my own abilities. It's just Socks had so much thought and unique content in that subscriber server that I would be playing catch up the whole time and I would never feel fulfilled. So I decided, okay, I'm going to pivot ideas. And that's when I got to thinking like, hey, Tarkov is cool, but it's inaccessible, blah, blah, blah. Here we are. And that's where Apocalypse came from. So basically the answer is still then no. I will not be doing a second subscriber Minecraft server because, again, Sox's subscriber server. Hiatus or not is just the bar that I would have to personally to be fulfilled to match, and I'm not capable of doing that. That's a lot of work that I would never feel. I would never be like satisfied working on it. And that's nothing against Sox. That is a achievement on Sox's end. That's like, I just want to do something different, right? It's like, if I was working on PUBG and Fortnite came out before I finished PUBG, I wouldn't have bothered releasing PUBG. I would have worked on something else. That's kind of where I'm at. But yeah. Yeah, that answers the question. Anything else? Did I miss anything also? Did they work? His models are so good, but he pisses me off so bad. The little room stuff all worked pretty well. Like visually speaking, there were some glitches that I had to manually patch out. And I changed the stats the whole time because they're really badly balanced. The little room mobs are really, really poorly balanced, like game design wise. It's very funny. The very first boss I released in the original Couples Craft was the Drifter from Hyper Light Drifter. And straight up, it was not as hard as any of the little room bosses were. But it was way more fun to fight. I think we can, like, I'm not trying to toot my horn. I think we can all agree that the Drifter was way more interesting than any of the other bosses. Because the Drifter would, like, teleport around and try and trick you. But it was also, like, very well, clearly telegraphed. Like, you would only get hit either from a ranged shot, which you could see coming because it was a projectile you could dodge, theoretically dodge. Or you would get hit with a melee attack, which only comes out if you're right up against him. And I don't know. I thought the Drifter was just fun to fight. None of the little room ones were. His stuff is so broken. We had to fix almost all of it. Yeah, a lot of it is not compatible with modern Mythic Mob stuff too. Drifter was the peak of the arena. I am flattered and I kind of agree. I don't even think the Drifter was that good. The thing about the Drifter is that it was very hacked together. It was one of the first things I made in Mythic Mobs. And it was entirely basically RNG based. All the teleports and dodges, they weren't dynamically based on what the player was doing for the most part. They were just random. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna dodge around now. I just specifically made it so it was able to link multiple dodges sometimes. And even I think the directions were random. I think the directions were always away from the player unless they weren't. That was, I think, how I coded it. Like, it was supposed to try and be away, but there was a chance that they would teleport towards you, like to be aggressive. Anyways, yeah, Drifter was fun. Any other questions? Hit me. Are we allowing silly questions? Depends how silly. If you're making a joke question that has an answer, that has a dynamically answerable response, sure. Basically, if your question is a joke, but it's like the only way I could respond is either with a predictable answer or by inverting that predictable answer, then no, that's not allowed. But you can be silly otherwise. You know, it doesn't gotta be all serious. I know those are weird specifications, but basically don't lead me into a punchline. Like a specific one you have in mind. Other than that, it's fine. Have you tried the blood orange Slurpee? I don't think so. Is that new? I've talked about this before. I don't really like the fruity Slurpee flavors because I am allergic to... I'm allergic to aspartame, and I think that they have aspartame in them. They might not. I might just be allergic to something else that's in the fruity flavors, but they always make my throats burn. Throat burn. I try them. Like, it doesn't make me, like, I don't get a serious reaction, but I do get kind of gross. Actually, oh god, speaking of reactions, okay, I'm going to talk about something recovery related, but it's no triggers necessary. It's fine. So I got given antibiotics when I was coming home, and they gave me 2, and I had to take them every day to make sure I didn't get any infections, and I took them, and I was horrifically allergic, and I had a full body rash for like a week. It was terrible. I survived it. It's over. My skin is recovered, and it's fine. I took some NyQuil, but it was the worst rash I've ever gotten. Full body, like really, really, really terribly itchy. It was funny. Yeah. Sorry, it just reminded me of that. Have you read the Gideon the Ninth books? I don't know what those are, so no. When I was a kid, I read a lot. I don't read too much anymore. I don't read like basically at all anymore. I have nothing against books. I just have ADHD. When I was a kid, the books that I really liked, I liked the Golden Hour series. I read 3 of them. I don't remember what they were about too much. I'm pretty sure it was very similar to the Magic Treehouse in that it was like time traveling educational adventures or whatever the fuck. But it was like full novel length and a little bit less on the educational side and more on the time traveling adventure side of things. So I liked the Golden Hour. I liked this one book called Owl Boy, which was like a superhero story about a kind of like, you know, Batman, but an owl, I guess. It was just a kid doing it. What else did I read as a kid? I read this one book that I don't remember the name of, but I remember it was about a school radio play, or radio show, excuse me, like a school radio show. And it was about a bunch of stuff. They had a parrot and the parrot wouldn't cooperate and they had to struggle and they were like, oh, we got to do the good radio show. But the whole book like was talking about how bad dead air is on a radio show. And then at the climax of the book, the bird that they were training stops talking and the main character's like, dead air. And it's in like all caps, all bold, giant text. And that has stuck with me my entire life. And to this day when I stream, if I ever like stop talking and I think about dead air, I think about that quote. And it has made me eternally afraid of not speaking on stream. I have to always be speaking or making a sound or just making it clear that I'm still here. But yeah, I didn't read a ton of books though. Yeah, I was probably 12 when I was reading books the most consistently. Oh, somebody asked, how's my day going? My day is going really well. I missed streaming so bad. Past 2 weeks have been actually kind of like, honestly immaculate. I've been, actually, even 3 weeks, been feeling great. Playing a lot of games playing a lot of single game on my Steam Deck. Take a guess at what that might be. And been hanging out with friends more, just chatting. Met a new friend who has managed to pull walls of text out of me like it's nothing, and are like, we just met, we've known for each other for a week or two now, and our DMs are long, like our DM logs are longer than most people I know like that I talk to. It's just walls of text after walls of text. We just talk about shit. So that's been fun. Yeah, generally I've been feeling really good. And today is no different. Yesterday I had a bit of a rough one though. Just kind of came out of nowhere. I think it's because I forgot to take my ADHD meds, which will probably do it. Oh, catching up. Have I ever played Portal Reloaded? I have not. Is that the one with the time travel? With the orange, not the orange, with the green doors? Yes, it is. No, I haven't. I want to. I have not though. The first Portal stories Mel put me off of Portal 2 mods specifically, because I got lost in Portal Stories Mel. I don't know if that was a me problem or an actual game, like level design problem, but I got lost several times in a row in Portal Stories Mel. I think there's 2 of those. It was the first one I was playing. And it kind of put me off of Portal 2 mods for a while. But it's not to say that I don't think that they're, like, I would be silly if you heard from me saying, oh, this game is never good modded. I just haven't, like, buckled down and tried it yet. I know you've talked about before about other game concepts you have. Was curious about what sort of narrative/story ideas you'd like to explore with them, if any. So I am not a story gamer. I am not like so far as to say I'm like full Miyamoto. Stories are actively a detriment to games. Games should be gameplay and story is bad. I don't think that at all. I love a good story in a game, but I am just not a story-focused person myself. I don't have any OCs. I basically have never had OCs. The only time I've ever had one was when I was around 15 and I played a lot of Half-Life 2 roleplay. And I like roleplayed as a character, and that was my OC, like by definition, but also that was less to create a character, and that was more just to be able to roleplay. That was the more enjoyable part of it to me. Miyamoto hates Rosalina's story. Miyamoto hates every story. Every good story in a Nintendo game was snuck past Miyamoto. Rosalina, all of Majora's Mask was only because, you know, of the delay, or not the delay, but the fact that game had only so much time to come out. I can't think of anything. Basically everything that's like good and like narratively impactful was snuck, like legitimately snuck past Miyamoto. He didn't know it was a thing. But yeah, so I don't have a ton of like narrative ideas that I plan on explicitly exploring. I do have settings that I am interested in. I am obviously a Half-Life pilled gamer. I have plans for a VR game that is going to take place in a sort of science facility similar thing to how Half-Life works. You know, you're there at ground zero of a fucked up experiment, and you have to escape. I think that is a really underutilized setup, despite Half-Life being so impactful. Like, I think maybe just nobody wants to feel like they're ripping it off, but I just don't see it very often. Doom 3 also did that, and that's why I think Doom 3 is like a better sequel to Half-Life 1 than Half-Life 2 is. Not better. Half-Life 2 is probably better than than Doom 3. Probably. I like Doom 3. Legitimately. It's not a Doom game, but it's a good game. But it is definitely a closer in terms of atmosphere to Half-Life 1 than Half-Life 2 was to Half-Life 1. But yeah, I really like that setup of being at ground zero when something catastrophic happens and having to escape. So that's plans for a game. I'm not going to be making just Half-Life, but in VR. It is going to be heavily inspired, and it's probably even going to seem like that when you first look at it, but it's definitely going to be a lot more of what I felt like Half-Life was when I was a kid. Specifically, Half-Life to me today is a really, really tight shooter, fast-paced, aggressive shooter with some, like, comically goofy stuff with some legitimately, like, nerve-wracking atmosphere at times, right? My game is planned to be how I saw it as a kid, which was just like a very dark, very spooky, almost horror environment. I'm not super experienced with horror. It's not going to be going full horror. It's still going to be a shooter, but it's definitely going to lean harder into the fucked upness, I guess, of what happened in Half-Life. And it's also going to not do the thing that Half-Life 2 did, where they retconned that the reason that the Resonance Cascade happened was because, like, the G-Man snuck the crystal in, or like whatever. I thought that was, I get why they did it, and it's fine. And Half-Life 2 it does legitimately have a good story, very strong story. But I really liked the sort of angle of, and I made a meme about this. I really liked the angle of humanity's hubris, even with good intentions, can lead to catastrophic consequences if not in check. And so that, when I make my game, is going to be far more of the actual core of it. It is going to be people with legitimately good intentions were not put in check. They were not they were not careful about what they were doing, and they weren't thinking of the consequences of their actions. And unforeseen consequences, exactly. It's literally a chapter name in Half-Life. It's literally that. With a little bit more of a lean towards, like, the government / military will exploit whatever you make. Because that's another thing that I felt in Half-Life that is just straight up not explicitly canon in the game. But as a kid, I always thought that Black Mesa made weapons for the military. Like, they have rockets and shit, and now we know they're satellite rockets. Like, now I know that as an adult, and I know the story. But I straight up thought that, like, Black Mesa had secret underground projects that they did for the like, you see a military helicopter at the beginning of the game, and as a kid I read that as, oh, they do military contracting. And the reason that this all happened was because they were like, they were trying to weaponize this shit. Like, the portal technology, oh yeah, they're trying to weaponize it. The laser beams, they got the Gauss gun. That's how I read it as a kid. That's not canon at all. Like, it's potential subtext, but Half-Life 2 doesn't even blink at it, so it doesn't seem to be canon. And the scientists in Half-Life 2 are explicitly the heroes. They are the people who save the day. And so, yeah, that's something I want to go against. Because I think it's more impactful to me personally if, like, good intentions were exploited and that caused great consequences, because that's something we see in real life every day. But yeah, anyways, that's a very long-winded way to answer that. I don't really think very narratively focused when it comes to my games. I will include a narrative. I already have a narrative planned for Apocalypse that I'm actually quite happy with its very early stage. But I don't think that's not how I start, and I don't have any plans to incorporate that. Okay, actually, you know what? Here's how I think it works for me. You know how in game development, you might know this anyways, one of the common tips for new game developers is find the fun in the game, right? Listen to the game play as you're testing and prototyping and find the fun, you know? Find out what makes your game click as you're developing it and follow that. You know, that's how the greatest games of all time have all been made. You go into development with one idea and you realize something is fun halfway through and you go all in on that. I think that's how I approach writing in my games. I start with the game, and I start with a vague idea, right? Like Apocalypse was like, oh yeah, well I want a bunch of zombies and monsters, so it's going to be Minecraft had an apocalypse. And from there, I just kind of followed it. Okay, well, you know, a bunch of apocalypses happened, so maybe everybody moved to the moon to survive. Okay, cool. That explains why you can only be on in raid, quote unquote, to use Tarkov terminology, for like 30 minutes at a time because it's toxic on the planet. That explains why everything's hostile on the planet. Cool, right? And then I've gone from there. I don't want to spoil it because it's not finalized, but I have a lot of other ideas. I recently kind of brainstormed with Duke about a very, personally, I think, interesting direction to go with Enderman and their effect and place in the story of that world. But it's not something I went in intending on including, and it's not something I ever would have thought of ahead of time and then put into a game in that order. I go gameplay first, and I find the story that seems meaningful to me from the mechanics. And I also think that makes them more cohesive, but that's totally preference. And also hypothesis, because I don't have any games under my belt released. What's one of your best tips to start a project you've been thinking of regardless of scale? So that's actually very that's a good thing a good question for me specifically. So when you're getting into game dev, indie game dev specifically, you'll get very often tips that you should start small and you should start with very tiny little projects. And that is really important. It is important because it teaches you as a developer scope. It teaches you how to actually accomplish from beginning to end a project and complete it. It teaches you how to make a game, right? It's super important foundational knowledge. Problem is, I don't like that. I am not passionate. I am not like excited about small projects. I don't think they're bad. I like small little games occasionally. Like game jam games can be super fun and cool and interesting, but I have zero motivation to actually make one personally. That could change if I come up with an idea that I think would really work for just a small, quick example. But I am more interested in the grand combination of several mechanics interacting with one another and how that creates one full experience on a grand scale. I'm more interested than I am on taking one interesting idea and making a game from that. It's just how my brain works. I still recognize the importance of making small games, and I will probably participate in some game jams to give myself that experience. It's important. It's like studying. You have to do it, right? But it's not how my brain works. I think big picture. I think with several mechanics working in between, in combination with each other. For example, whenever for example, right? Let's use Breath of the Wild durability, because that's a hot topic as an example, right? People play Breath of the Wild. Half people said durability sucks. Half people said it's good. And that's kind of where the conversation ended. You want to go one layer deeper, and I also made a tweet about this a little while ago. You want to go one layer deeper on that? You want to expand that concept one level more? Okay, it's bad because it feels bad to experience, which is true. I mean, it's a simple sentence, but it is a very true thing. Or the other hand, it's good because it forces the player to try different things, right? Which is also true. That is legitimately like the intention of the mechanic. However, I think that that's kind of short-sighted. To look at it like that, because Breath of the Wild is not a game where you swing weapons and then they break or they don't. Breath of the Wild is an open world exploration game with mechanics of climbing and physics interactions and shrines to interact with and bosses to fight and side quests. It's got a lot of shit going on for it. And to me, Breath of the Wild's durability needs to be looked at with all of that in mind, right? And my final kind of opinion on Breath of the Wild's durability is, yes, it is designed to make the player try different options, but Breath of the Wild does not provide those enough options for the player to try. For example, Breath of the Wild, you can attack an enemy traditionally with your 3 types of swords. You can throw your weapon. You can shoot them with a bow or elemental bow. You can use physics to kill them. And if you really want to, I guess you can sneak strike. That's pretty much Breath of the Wild's loadout. You can do some stuff with like chew jellies if you drop them near enemies, but anything that isn't just direct combat in Breath of the Wild tends to be less effective than anything else. And so, because the weapons break, all it can do is incentivize you to use different weapons, but there's only 3 kinds of weapons in the game, 4 if you want to count boomerangs, which I think is a stretch. But Tears of the Kingdom totally fixes this, in my opinion, because Tears of the Kingdom literally lowers, no spoilers, by the way, no spoilers. But Tears of the Kingdom, on average, has less durable weapons. That's not a spoiler, I don't think, personally. It's just, it's not important.
Stop talking about it.
I can talk about it, it's fine. I don't think that's a spoiler. They are, on average, a little bit less durable, at least in my experience. However, Tears of the Kingdom has a significantly higher amount of variety in tools for the player to use. I won't talk about what those tools are, but there is so many more things you can do that are completely different and, importantly, all equally viable. I've talked about Breath of the Wild being a worse version of Metal Gear Solid 5 before in terms of its core gameplay loop, because Metal Gear Solid 5 is also an open world game where you find enemy encampments and you engage them in whatever way the player finds effective. And the reason that Metal Gear Solid 5 to me does it better is because there's so many more viable options. For example, you could walk in with your gun and shoot everybody, or you could sneak in and choke everybody, or you could take your horse and ride close to them to get all of their attention so they're all looking at you and then pop up and slow-mo headshot all of them, or you could attach C4 to your car and drive that in and blow them all up, or you could take one guy and throw 10 decoys around him so he's in an infinite loop of checking them all out and everybody's distracted, and you can like take them out when they're not paying attention. You can use like lethal weapons or non-lethal weapons. You can use a tranquilizer gun for those like instant headshot sleeps, but also like lower ammo capacity and worry about your suppressor. Or you can use a non-lethal like rubber bullets gun, which takes more shots and you need to be more careful with it, but you have more ammo to work with. There's so many things in Metal Gear Solid 5 that are all equally viable that you can do. You can take a walker, you can take all sorts of vehicles, right? There's so many things. And Breath of the Wild just didn't have that. And Tears of the Kingdom does, in my opinion. There's so much more you can do in that game. And it fixes durability to me because it is taken in the big picture. I might have tweeted this. I remember thinking about it. I don't remember if I made the tweet, but it's really interesting to me because Doom Eternal has the same problem / like contentious mechanic as Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild has weapon durability to encourage the player to use more tools. Doom Eternal got a lot of flack because all of the weapons in that game have less total ammo capacity, significantly less than the original Doom. And that is done to encourage the player to use all of their weapons, like different weapons, right? And I think that Doom Eternal got less flack for it. It did get flack, don't get me wrong, but it got less flack because Doom Eternal gives you so many tools to circumvent that. Like they give you the chainsaw to get ammo, they give you the fire thing to get armor. Like they give you so many tools to circumvent the difficulty of it, and they also add mechanics that incentivize that playstyle, like quick switching, like Zapisa Man just mentioned. Doom Eternal literally does the same thing as Breath of the Wild, but they just did it in a way that is, personally to me, a little bit more fleshed out. Whereas Breath of the Wild, I think, was a little anemic, and Tears of the Kingdom fixes. Anyways, a lot of words. That's basically to say, yeah. What even was the original question? I don't even remember how we got here. Y'all were asking me about scale in a game. Right, and I was talking about... Right, okay, I was talking about scale, and then I was talking about why I'm not interested in small projects, and it's because I like big picture and multiple mechanics and working together, and that's why I don't make small projects. I should actually answer your question now. So, starting a project, regardless of scale, I recommend first... I think scoping it out is important. I talked about doing small projects teaches you scope. I have been, when it comes to Apocalypse, I have been very, very cognizant of what I am and am not able to do. I actually did not announce it until I knew I had every single fundamental bone of the game ready, because I knew if I couldn't get the fundamentals done in a timely manner, I would never get the whole game done. It's very important to make sure that your project is within your capabilities. For Apocalypse, for me, I know everything that needs to be done to finish the game. I have the benefit of basically having this game fleshed out fully in my head for the most part. I know what it's going to look like when it's done. Not every game is like that, nor should it be. Comes back to that whole finding the fun thing. But I know what I want Apocalypse to be, and I'm confident in that vision. And if it changes, I don't think it will change in a way that will require significant reworks of what I've done. But yeah, scope is the biggest thing. You start with figuring out, okay, am I capable of doing this, like realistically? And then you experiment a bit with it to find that answer. And if you find that, yeah, I could probably do this, it might not be easy or fast, but I could, then you decide, all right, do I want to? And if yes, then you start working on it. Excuse me. Make sure it's within your capabilities. If it's not, I recommend working on other stuff, excuse me, to work up to that. Before I was working on Apocalypse, I didn't just jump in randomly to Minecraft modding. I had been making custom mobs and weapons in the Couples Craft server, like the subscriber one, for a long time. I mentioned that I had like 1.5 billion finished mobs, like behind closed doors, behind the curtains. Yeah, that was all practice. That was all stuff that I was using to learn the program. And by the end of it, even though I hadn't released anything since the Drifter officially, I got really good at it. I could make like pretty much anything I wanted to make, pretty well. And that was the practice I needed. That was the skills that I needed to learn in order to start Apocalypse as a project. So yeah, that's what I would say. Scope it out, figure out what it needs, measure if you're up to that task. And if you think that you are, then just go for it. And if you're not, then just go do, like, learn, you know? Do other things that can work up to it. But also, don't be afraid to chase your dream project, because excitement is going to power your motivation more than anything else. And if you always just view your dream project as unattainable, you will never make it in the first place. I thought game dev in general was unattainable for most of my life. It's always been my biggest, like, dream career. And I just thought it was so deeply unattainable that I thought I wouldn't even bother trying. And the moment that I had my epiphany moment was when I joined Scrungecraft. A lot of you'll probably remember that. That was a few years ago now. When I joined Sox's Scrungecraft, I saw Sox making custom mobs and weapons. And it was a vanilla server, and my mind was blown. I was like, how the fuck are you doing that? Because, like, I'm familiar with mods. I've always been into mods. But I was like, how are you managing this? And Sox showed me, and it blew my mind. I was like, oh shit, you're just doing that. And Sox is not a programmer. Sox, like, that was like the big scary thing for me. I'm not a programmer. I want to be, and I will learn, but like that's how I felt. Sox is not a programmer. Sox is doing all this stuff. And the other part of my brain was, I could balance this better than Sox. Sox has gotten way better at that, but Scrungecraft had some whack balancing. Oh my god, some of the weapons in that were busted. Remember the fucking infinite ammo head bandana? Remember that, where you could just attack at infinite speed? That was nuts. Yeah, like, Sox has great ideas and has gotten a lot better at balancing, but back in Scrunge specifically, Sox's balancing was off, and I was like, I could do this better. And so I started making my own stuff, and then I made Couples Craft to experiment more with it, and then I got good enough where I'm like, okay, let's make a game. Anyways, that's a lot of words. It's a long-ass answer for a simple question, but I stand by it all. Thank you for asking. Let me see. There's a couple questions here, I think. Having, like, a whole quiver of unfinished projects is always a great jumping off point for future endeavors. I agree. Yeah, 100%. You're trying to work on getting a couple off the ground. Hell yeah, Lord Slime Apple, get those art projects off the ground. You got this. I thought there was more questions. Did I miss them? Maybe there wasn't. Maybe I did not see any more questions. I think it was all just statements. Statements that I thought might have been questions. That's fine. You're projecting frog images into my brain? Oh, ribbit. Oh, my throat's getting dry. This is the most I've talked in 2 months. I mean, that's actually not technically true. I had a call recently that lasted like 8 hours, and I talked this fast with a friend the whole time. So that was my warm up, we'll call it. But basically, haven't talked like this much for, thanks, nice burp, for like 2 months. No sore throat yet, though. Definitely getting tired, but no sore throat. Definitely sweaty, though. That hasn't gone away. Streaming makes you so sweaty. What's up with that? I don't get this sweaty when I talk to people on regular voice calls. I'm not nervous. I guess I'm projecting my voice more than I would on a regular voice call. Posture check, thanks. Yeah, I should. Hang on. Ugh. I'm not sitting that bad, but I should. Ooh, adjust. Oh my god, I hope that picked up on the mic. I just cracked the shit out of my back. Ooh, OBS makes computer warm. No, my computer's not warm. It's actually kind of cool in the house. I'm just warm. It's not cool, but it's not hot. Do I have lights up on my setup? No. No, I don't. The only light I have in my setup, I have one webcam light, quote, end quote, which is it's a makeup mirror with one of the ring lights on it that I put a white piece of paper over as a diffusion sheet. It's super hacked together. It's okay. It's only one light source though, so it doesn't, you know, light up my face as much as evenly as I'd like it to. But it doesn't really matter because it's not on right now. Damn, that crack. Did it actually come on? Did you hear it? Because it was loud. It was a brap. It was a juicy one. I crack so loud. My bones. I don't know if any of that's coming through, but that was my fingers. I'm a bone cracker. I think so. It sounded like crack. Well, my finger cracks definitely came through because that was right in front of the mic. So y'all have heard that. But yeah, I guess just while I'm waiting. Shit, what else can I talk about? ASMR bones cracking. Yeah, I'm very excited to get back into developing for Apocalypse for Couplescraft. And sounded like someone crunching a potato chip. I'm just made of chips. I'm just a little made of potato chips. I forgot what I was gonna say. I had something and I lost it. You took my piece of paper as a light diffuser tip from a while ago. I don't remember seeing that tip. I'm so sorry. I probably did see it, and I probably did respond to it. However, I will say, and this is not to lessen your impact, I've worked with light before. I used to run a cable bingo shit from like my town, a local one. I was a technical director for it in high school as a volunteer thing. So I've worked with lighting and diffusion and stuff. Did you see any cool animals recently? We already talked about how I'm pretty animal neutral.
Sophie,
What's up?
talk about the wasp.
Oh my god, the wasp! Okay, last night, Duke and I, why were we out? Oh yeah, okay, so we went outside because last night, for a very brief moment in the evening, was a perfect temperature. I have only experienced this one other time in my life, and that was back when I was like 6. But basically, it was, the temperature outside was slightly warm if there was no breeze. And by slightly, I mean like just above body temperature, like so close to just neutral temperature. And then slightly cool if the breeze was there. And so the breeze was coming in and it was at a very steady pace. And it basically felt truly neutral outside. It's only happened to me one other time in my life. It is a feeling where I feel like I could have worn any combination of clothing. I could have gone from full parka to absolute naked, and I would not have been uncomfortable no matter what. It was perfect neutral temperature. The wind felt like smooth. I literally don't know how to describe it other than smooth. Like the smoothness of like water running through your legs when you're swimming. Like it was so nice outside. So we went outside and we stood out there for a good while. And we eventually were like, okay, let's go back inside. And we walk in and the biggest wasp I've ever seen in my goddamn life flies into the house. She was the size of like, what, darling? Like an inch and a half. Yeah, she was, well, that's too big. That's a very large, that's an inch and a half is large. She was about like an inch large. Yeah. She was big and she flew around our house. And I'm not like, so I am not, bugs are evil, they should go away, we should kill them all. That's gross. But I am skittish around anything that is small and moves erratically and quickly. I will jump on my chair if there's a mouse, even if it is completely, like, verifiably not a danger. I'm not scared of it, and I don't think it's any lesser, but I get skittish. I jump, right?
I'm also worried about the cats.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. So I was like nervous about. I was like scared. I was, and the cats were out. Grillbert started chasing it because it was so big. Grillbert doesn't really chase bugs often. He'll usually just watch them. But this thing was so big, he was running all over the house. He's also kind of dumb, and he usually can't track bugs, but he was tracking this thing perfectly. Like it was that big. So I was like, oh God, Grillbert's gonna eat the wasp and then get stung and explode. So I took both of our cats into the bedroom. And Duke and I tried to get this fucking wasp out. It flew into our kitchen. Now, if you've watched Duke and I streams, you may know already. We have a window to our kitchen. It is right above Duke's desk. And it is, it's just like a little opening in the wall. And that's all it is. It's just like a square hole in the wall that leads to the kitchen from our living room, right? And the wasp flew in through that hole. And it was like one of those bug traps that you can make where you get a bottle where the bugs can walk inside, but they can't get out because of the funnel shape, right? They're too dumb to like get around the funnel. It was like that where the wasp got in and it couldn't figure out how to leave. And so we tried to get it out for probably like good 30 minutes until we were eventually like, there's nothing we can do. We just have to wait. So we started eating pizza because we had ordered pizza. Also, the pizza guy arrived as we were like door wide open, running around looking for this bug. And we were like, I'm sorry. The guy just like, we didn't even see him. He was like, hi, pizza. It was really funny. Anyways, so we started eating some pizza and I just stare at the kitchen the entire time. Eventually the wasp flies out and it gets back into our living room. And I'm ducking and dodging all over the place. I'm scared, right? Again, just jumpy. Don't like erratically moving things. And so Duke is trying to get it to be attracted to the light. When we tried that in the kitchen, but whenever we turned off the light, it would just stop moving. It would just like deactivate, which Duke said might be a wasp thing or might have just been coincidence. Who knows? So that didn't work. We eventually started turning it off in the living room too, and then turned on our porch light. But like, it was really hard to see because we didn't have our living room light on. So we're ducking and dodging for ages. I walk over to our like the opposite side of the house from the wasp. And I'm watching it and staring at it. And then in my peripheral vision, I see another giant something fly past me. And I'm like, oh God, Duke, there's two. Because we had the door open this whole time because we were trying to get it to fly out, right? It was not another bee, thankfully. Not another wasp. It was just fuck, what are they called? Mosquito hawk. They're not called, I mean, a mosquito hawk is a nickname, but they're not, I don't like that name because they don't actually do anything with mosquitoes. It was a yellow jacket. That's what they're called.
No.
What?
No, yellow jackets are wasps.
Oh, yeah, they are. Wait.
It's a mosquito.
No, crane flies. Thank you, crane flies. That's what they're called. I did get yellow jacket incorrect. It is a crane fly. You are correct, Punk Cherries. Yeah, so it flies past my vision, and I got scared, but that's not a big deal. Crane flies also get me a little jumpy, but like not nearly as much because they're slow. They look like giant mosquitoes, or no, they look like giant daddy long legs. They're scary. Anyways, no beef against them, just general fear. Anyways, so eventually the wasp lands on my chair, my magical chair that Girlbert always goes to, and it just stays there. And Duke starts shoving the chair, and it doesn't leave because my chair is apparently that comfy that even wasps love chilling out on it. So Duke wheels my chair out the door and smacks it and slams the door shut. And then we're like, is it gone? Is it gone? And then we hear bzzz, and it's still in the house. It landed like just before the door, and it got back inside. So we're just like, fuck, and we're running around for a bit longer. Eventually it lands on Grillbert's, he has like a little saucer that has like a ball that goes in a circle with a scratch pad in the middle. And it lands in the path of the ball. And Duke picks it up, sprints outside, and frisbees it out the door and slams it shut. And it's gone. And it has been out there to this, like, to now. It all overnight. It is still flying and banging at the door.
It was doing it the day before. You just go outside.
Apparently it was doing it the day before too. I just didn't go outside. So like, it's still there. It's still trying to get in. So that was that is the coolest animal I've seen recently. Maybe not the exact kind of answer you were looking for, but probably the most accurate. Oh, did I miss anything while I was talking about bees? I don't think I did. No, I don't think I did. New roommate. I think she lives there. No thanks. Pay rent. Oh, I'm getting sleepy, so I probably won't go for too much longer. If there's any more questions people want to ask, again, I want to say it can be about like stuff I have planned. It can be about stuff I've talked about recently. It can be about stuff I was doing while I have been absent. It can be about my game stuff. It can be about my video essay stuff. It can be about nothing at all. It can be about my upcoming design. It can be about my newfound confidence, me hanging out with friends, whatever you want. Future streams, past streams, whatever. Only thing you can't ask right now is I would prefer we stay away from specific stuff about my hospital experience and the surgery itself. Just because there's triggers related to that, and I don't want to. I've lowered the trigger warning, so if we're going to talk about that, take it to my Curious Cat, and I will answer it there with appropriate trigger warnings. In the Discord, am I going to be streaming Atomic Heart again? I want to. I really like Atomic Heart. I genuinely do. I think it's great. After last time I streamed it, I did a bunch of grinding to unlock a bunch of the weapons, and I had every intention to play it again, and then I had a surgery. I will definitely play it again. Well, I can't say definitely because my urges are fickle. I will likely play it again, but no promises. I want to. I like it, and I would have a good time, but I might get distracted. What's the weirdest dream you've had? When I was a kid, a teenager, I had a dream, and I don't remember all of the details of it, but I do remember it being extremely vivid at the time, where it was me and my grandpa, and there was a zombie apocalypse, and we lived in a mall, and the mall, every single like storefront in the mall had like a different like set of people living there, like a different faction, if you will. There was some infighting, there was some stuff going on. Eventually, we got saved by Santa and his legion of elves. They flew sleighs in with sleigh bells jingling, and they got us out. As we were flying, however, Wookiees from Star Wars were getting attacked. They had a riverbed city that they had built out of bamboo and wood that was like on stilts that would be above the water, above the river, so any zombies that tried to get to them would get washed away. But the zombies managed to get through, and their place was crumbling, and so we swooped in to save the Wookiees. And then we flew to Santa's place in the North Pole, which was like candy canes and candy like city, like a classic Santa's Santa's village type aesthetic. And we all lived there, and we all lived happily ever after. I remember it being so vivid at the time. One of the most narratively consistent dreams I had ever had at the time. I have a lot of weird dreams. I lucid dream very consistently, because I've mentioned I have aphantasia, and this is just an assumption of why, like my personal reasons I think I lucid dream so much. It just makes sense, but I could be wrong. But I have aphantasia, so I can't picture anything in my head. So when I dream, there is no visual aspect to it. There just isn't. I intuitively know what I am quote unquote looking at in the dream. But it is just intuitive. Like there is no visual aspect to it. Like, you know how people are like, oh, in a dream, if you want to try lucid dreaming, look at your hands and count them, or look at the clock and see if it's correct. Yeah, I can't do that because there isn't no clock. There is no hands. Sometimes in a dream, part of it will take place, and looking at the clock or whatever will be like part of it, but I don't see anything. There's no way for me to tell if it's correct or not, because the only way I can tell what is going on in a dream is that if it's a specific part of the dream. And if I'm not already lucid dreaming, I can't force that. So if at any point in my dream I look at a clock, all I'm gonna know is what the clock is doing in the context of the dream, if it's important. Like, for example, if in my dream I was in a school situation and I looked at the clock to see when my class was gonna end, it would probably be like 15 minutes before class ends. And I wouldn't be able to analyze that any further, because that's all that matters. That is all I know. That is all that my brain is telling me. That's it. It's like a text adventure game. Exactly, Punk Cherries. It is. It's like a text adventure game mixed with, like, you know those games where your character is blind and every time there's a sound, it creates like a black and white ripple and you get to see the outlines of everything around you? Like games that try to simulate echolocation. It kind of feels a little bit like that. Anyways, I lucid dream a lot because that's not how real life works. And very frequently, I will go, hang on a minute. There's nothing here. I can lucid dream. I'm here. It's a dream. However, because I can't see anything, it's also not as exciting for me. Like I could continue the dream, but at that point, it's more just like playing with my imagination. Yeah, I could fly in my dream, but because I can't see what's going on, there's not a lot of impact that provides me. So typically, when I realize I'm lucid dreaming, I will just say, okay, that's fun. Continue the dream as it were. And the dream will just continue on autopilot. But because of that, I remember my dreams very frequently, and they're very vivid. They're extremely vivid, despite there not being any visual aspect to them. And so I remember them all the time, and they get real wacky and weird. I love dreams. I love dreaming. It's fun. Let me scroll up. Am I feeling like a cool as hell gamer? No, I'm a little warm right now, actually. Now I'm feeling good. Do I have a specific channel I'll be uploading the video essay to? So, it's likely going to be on my quote-unquote main channel. Right now I have two. I have the VODs channel and the quote-unquote main channel, which currently has two videos. Both of them are Tarkov related. One of them is a clip, and one of them is a meme short, like skit. And those are probably going to get deleted and moved back to the VODs channel. Originally, the main channel, quote-unquote, was going to be for clips and stuff. And now I'm like, well, I'm going to do video essays. I should probably have like a structured channel for that. So that's where those are going to go. So they are linked. I think they're in my bio on Twitter. If they're not, it's just Sophie Baby is the channel name instead of Sophie Baby VODs. The VOD channel used to be called Sophie Baby. I changed it. That one's Sophie Baby VODs now. The main quote-unquote one with 2 videos is Sophie Baby. And that's where the video essays are going to go. Woo! It sounds like what mind reading would be like, referring to my how I experience dreams and stuff. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess I probably also feel that that is an accurate description of what mind reading would probably be like. Yeah, a little more abstract, but otherwise, yeah, I'm with you. When you try to figure out if you're dreaming, you try and bend your finger like a noodle, but most times your brain goes, haha, this is actually real life, you can't do that. I can bend my finger like a noodle because I have what is it, I got double joints. I forget what the actual name, hypermobile, thank you, joints is what I have. You only remember your dreams when you're sleeping terribly. I feel that. I remember my dreams pretty consistently. Not always for long. Like I will still, you know, the thing where you like remember your dream and then you forget it very quickly still happens to me. That's normal for everybody. But they are vivid enough where I can sometimes remember them for a lot longer. And when I do first wake up, they are extraordinarily vivid. Like, and usually fairly like narratively consistent. Not always. Usually, you know, a lot of dreams bounce around, but they tend to be pretty linear. Well, linear, except for the fact that sometimes my dream will restart over and over to like a certain point of like the quote unquote chapter, the scene or whatever. It'll like replay the same quote unquote dream scene over and over. But that's usually my, wait, don't go to Twitter. Sorry, muscle memory. That's usually my own like brain muscle memory, kind of adjusting the quote unquote scene through lucid dreaming abilities. Because I was like, that could have been more interesting. That could have been better. You had a dream that that involved a horde worm that you named Pier after the dream concluded. Nice. Ooh, I'm getting sleepy. All right. One question. You get one more. Everybody, you get one more question. Throw it out if you got one. It can be of any varying levels of interesting. Whatever it is. And I won't choose the first one that's said. I'll choose a random one. If everybody says one at once, I'll choose one out of the group. But y'all get one more question. And then we wrap up. I'll give it a couple seconds to give everybody a chance for the question pool. Y'all get, what time is it? 39:54. You get until, wait, you guys can't see the thing. You get until this until this says 40. 20, 18, 17 seconds remain. Also, actually, it's going to say 40 for me, but not for you. Okay, you get until it says 47, actually. Because, no, you get until it says 40, but I'll wait until it says 47 because of the 7-second Twitch delay. So it's still 40. When it says 40, that's when it... I'm overcomplicating this. 7 seconds! Except not really. By the time you hear this, it's already over. Okay. I don't know if that was necessary. Anyways. All right, let's look through these questions. Man, time dilation is complicated. True. You gotta get all these patches and stuff for it off the subreddit. Anyway. There's 3. There's 5. What's your favorite type of walk? How do I feel about blue cheese? Gamer. Least favorite movie. And do I like pasta? I've already answered least favorite movie on Curious Cat, so I'm crossing that one off. I'll answer how do you feel about blue cheese, because I got a relevant story for it. Wait, is blue cheese Parmesan? Are those the same thing?
No.
Oh, those aren't the same thing? I thought they were. Wait. What? Oh, they are different. Okay, I'm not going to answer that one.
You think they were the same?
I thought they were the same. I don't know, because like Parmesan gets called stinky cheese, and blue is kind of like a stinky color. So I was like, oh yeah, the same thing. Things have multiple names. Anyways, let's do. Do you like pasta? I think pasta's okay. I'm not a huge pasta fan. Now pasta has a million different ways that you can make it. So saying don't like it at all would be disingenuous because there's so many different ways you can. Duke just said he could fuck up some pasta. I think pasta's okay. So I love Kraft dinner, which is not pasta. I'm a firm believer that Kraft mac and cheese for Americans. Kraft dinner is not actually mac and cheese. It is Kraft dinner, or Kraft mac and cheese if you're American. It's a totally different meal. I would not classify it as a pasta because it's its own thing. Actual mac and cheese is okay. It's not my favorite. But yeah, generally speaking, pastas, I'm okay with them. It depends on what the pasta is. A lot of them I'm not happy with. I don't really like lasagna. I don't like the texture. I don't like. I'm okay with spaghetti. Depends on who made it. There's all sorts of stuff. Also, people keep saying parm is stinky or parm isn't stinky. Parmesan is absolutely stinky. Isn't that like a thing? I'm pretty sure that's like a thing. Hang on. Stinky cheese. Well, this is like top 17. Hang on. Is Parmesan the same as stinky cheese? Yeah, okay, yeah, they are. Okay, yeah. So Parmesan absolutely is stinky. And it's funny. I like Parmesan. I think it's really yummy. Duke likes it more than me. And whenever we make pasta at home, he puts on so much, it smells the entire house up. It smells terrible. I hate it.
My childhood.
Ooh, excuse me. It's fine. You can enjoy it. It just smells bad. And absolutely stinky. Okay, I am going to call it here because I'm sleepy. I'm sleepy bo beepy. Lo-Fi Zelda got me snoozing. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I had a blast today. I'm glad to be back. Very, very glad to be back. I can't wait to get back into it. Like I said, next streams you can expect, we're gonna play Half-Life M mod, which is a Half-Life mod that adds a bunch of new like animations and like it's like supposed to like action movie up the game. I think it might have new weapons too. Fun little mod that'll be fun. I'm going to be playing a Kingdom Hearts related project with a fun twist that I'm going to reveal the details on later. I'm going to be playing 2 MMOs with Penny Parker at some point or another. I'm going to be doing Couples Craft / Minecraft Apocalypse, whatever, developer streams and get that PvP test up and running. And within some time over the next month, hopefully, there will be a PvP test, hopefully sooner than that, for Apocalypse, which you will be able to join at home with just a simple Minecraft.com login launcher. It's as simple as that. Thank you all so much for hanging out. I'm so glad to be back. I genuinely miss streaming so much. I've been going insane. I miss this. I really, really miss this. I'm so happy to be back. I'm hoping to get into the regular schedule. I felt pretty good today, so I might be able to get regular schedule. We'll see. I can confidently, at the very least, say next stream will be, what day is it today? Friday. Duke, you don't have anything planned on Sunday, right? The 14th? I don't think I have anything either. Let's do it on the 14th. I'll see you all on Sunday. Gamers, that's 2 days from now. Hell yeah, everybody's saying I love you to your mom. Let's go find somebody to raid. What's our raid phrase? What all have we talked about today that is not so personal that it would not work as a raid phrase? Let's see. What did we talk about? We talked about a big old wasp. We talked about being hot, but not too hot. Man, there was so much stuff. Stinky cheese. We talked about, I don't know, video games, game design. I don't know. Was there an iconic moment? I don't know if there was. Say goodbye to Exodia. I don't think that's relevant at all. Where will you be during Random Wasp Bed? I like that. We're taking that. Okay. Everybody copy and paste this. We're going to go raid Penelope Snapcube Parker, who's currently playing Tears of the Kingdom, which is a really good game. Straight up. Fucking rules. I didn't like Breath of the Wild that much. I think Tears of the Kingdom is so fucking good so far. I've played quite a bit of it. Have a good time, everybody. I will see you all again on Sunday. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for welcoming me back. And take care of yourself. I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.